got me into TFT specifically, it was just, I was just playing League and a bunch of my friends said there's like a new mode. I thought it was really fun, so I looked up, started looking up some guides on YouTube, and then it was like Scara guides, which is pretty funny because like I'm on a team with Scara now.
The people I'm like really excited to see are, I mean, obviously the ones I haven't. Names that come to mind are Toast and Scara. I've been fans of their streams for a while.
So I've been a big fan of Scara for years, and we've been friends for years, but for some reason, every event I've been to, TwitchCon, we've like barely dodged each other, so I've actually never met him in real life yet. So I'm just really excited to meet Scara, play alongside him.
It's crazy. When I first came in here, my fan interactions have been so funny. I've met someone, his name is Michael. He takes a picture with me, he's like, yo, are you nervous? I'm like, yeah, man, I'm a little nervous. Like, I'm not doing too hot right now. And he's like, oh, I'm not really nervous. I'm only really worried about Setsuko. I actually qualified for Worlds in 2 different sets. And I'm like, this guy is way better than me. And he's like, knows who I am with a picture. That's really cool. I'm playing against people who are like, literally like some of the best in the world. Even like the first fan I saw gave me a bracelet and it said, day 1. I thought it was really cute, so I wore it because I thought it'd give me good luck. But it gave me exactly what it said, so I got day 1. A lot of things I wish I did differently, but I feel like that's just how it is sometimes, you know? You come together with the best plan, and then if it doesn't work out, back to the drawing board. I hope they do this again, and I hope it's bigger and better. Whenever I go to events like these and people come up and say, hey, I'm a big fan of, and then start listing stuff, like your League of Legends days, your offline TV days, TFT. Anytime they come up for any reason, I'm always very appreciative because I feel like I have been around a long time and I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be around. And every time I can say that I have more hardcore fans than a lot of other people, or just more fans in general. And I think that they're the reason why I can keep doing what I'm doing. I think I never want to take my position for granted because even though I may not have been the best player or in anything, I think I'm generally well respected. And I think that it is still a great position to be in because I'm still able to chase a lot of dreams that I wanted to do. And you know what they say, like, shoot for the stars, because even if you miss, you land like inside the stars, you know? I think that's kind of like me. Like, even though I wasn't able to be the best player of all time or like whatever, I still ended up trying. And I think that effort means a lot for me. And it shows. Like, the fans are the proof that the effort meant a lot.
And we have him here with us after that amazing video. Welcome, Scara, to the desk here. How are you feeling?
Embarrassed.
Oh, no!
I think that's my new favorite saying.
No.
Shoot for the stars, because if you miss, you'll land in the stars.
You gotta do the
Actually,
I need like a t-shirt with that.
I
That's
thought
merch.
I thought they were going to chop that part up. Because usually they chop it up and they present the best version of you. And then they didn't chop any of that.
They did you dirty.
Yeah, they did me dirty a little bit.
We're keeping it real.
I feel like you did yourself a little bit dirty. You're saying not one of the best players. Man, you made LCS. You're high ranked. You actually almost advanced in TFT as well. You're a god gamer.
But I'm most well known for my ward in a Tribush, whereas you are a Zale world champion. And I usually, it's like the prefix and the suffix to your name.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, never got that one. Never got that one.
Yeah, but you got Scara, offline TV creator.
I got some
You
weird.
still have a chance.
The king of content,
Yeah,
the godfather.
What
He's
you
got
meant
sick
to say
nicknames.
is you haven't reached that yet.
Right.
Right.
We're still getting there. Haven't peaked yet. Or I peaked in high school. Really, it's hard to say.
There could be a second peak, maybe.
Yeah.
How's the event been for you? I mean, you competed, you went 2-5-5, which I was just saying, I couldn't believe you didn't advance with that.
Yeah.
Like, that's a really good score to not move on.
I think I had the highest average placement in advance of
That's
any
rough.
competitor because I had 7 people in my lobby, so you needed 2-5-4 to advance.
You're the first place loser.
Yeah, but it's okay. I'm used to losing. It's not a big deal. Overall, the event, I think, it gives me very old school vibes. I really love. Yesterday, I was like trying to talk to people. I was like, yo, Riot, you think about holding this every set? Like, I know, I know it costs a fortune. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, this is not free. But Riot has a lot of money, all I'm saying. And it would be great if they could throw this for every set. It's really motivating for players. It gives you old school MOG vibes, the vibes where you go to an open qualifier and you're just like, let's fucking do it. And you sit down and you get owned. Or you like sit down and you keep playing and it gives you like the really old school, like kind of grassroots feel that I feel like a lot of Riot games don't have anymore because they're so polished. It's so
It feels like how esports was supposed to be.
Well, There was a lot of bad parts. Old school MLG.
Yeah,
They didn't let me pee in the middle of the game, and then until one of our players almost pissed their pants. So like ideally we don't
I
go back
don't mean
that
the
way.
MLG, I mean this.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, you're good.
So
You're
it's
good.
MLG without pee bottles.
Yeah, without that.
I mean,
your bathroom breaks, don't
first
worry.
time I met you, I think, was at WCG in 2010
Oh,
or
wow.
2011 or something like that.
WCG is a throwback.
in Korea.
Mhm.
And so yeah, for me, in the best way, it gives me so much nostalgia for a lot of the awesome things about those events.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's so cool. I'm curious in your experience, because you've obviously spent so much time as a pro gamer, right? But so many of the people that I talked to here, it was their first time ever getting to play on a LAN. It's their first time meeting their friends that they've known online. It's their first time, maybe competing in an environment like this.
TFT is the most interesting game when it comes to competition because it's the only game I think you can play and within 12 months play with the people that you watch.
Yeah.
And that is crazy because like I think if you are a gamer and you really understand the space, you can hit like 0 to like challengers, 0 to GM, 0 to masters inside those 12 months. Leffen did it in 1 month. He hit 0 to GM, and unfortunately he didn't make it that far into the tournament, but his lobby was stacked and he's still like a gamer, And so I think the floor is deceptive and the ceiling is infinite.
Yeah.
I think especially on this patch, this is a great patch and a weird patch because it's such a hard patch that since we only had 2 days to prepare on it, everyone's coming in with like an incomplete idea of what to do. They have their own things they can do and they're like, let's fucking run it. And they ran it. And if it was bad, it was bad. I talked to Decisive, he's like, I thought a lot of DSG players didn't have good lines this tournament. And I'm like, that's just, it happens,
Yeah.
How do you feel about TFT kind of as an esport, right? Because you obviously, were a league pro for many years, but you've kind of dipped your toes into so many different games. Because I think TFT is such an interesting game, and when you play it, you really understand, how much skill there is involved in it. But for a viewer, it's sometimes maybe harder to appreciate.
I think the competitive aspect is a little difficult. I think the best part about the story of competitive TFT is to follow players you love. I think the greatest part is that most of the streamers are the great players.
Yeah.
So if you're a fan of Soju, you're a fan of Robin, you're a fan of Dish Soap, Setsuko, you follow their journey and you can follow them very specifically. You watch all their lobbies.
Like old school LCS.
Yeah, you can just cheer for them and that's great. If you're a spectator here, you can literally walk behind them. It was so funny because people were backseating behind Robin and he went 8th one game and he told Emily he was too embarrassed to turn around because he didn't want to see their faces. And it's like,
Oh, no.
literally, like, there is a level of, that kind of LAN environment that you're not used to. There were people behind Soju literally praying on his downfall. They were hoping he lost. Actively cheering for his loss. That's
so hard.
That's crazy to me, but also hilarious. I think he went like 1-1-1 during that time. So it's just really funny.
Just turn around and give him the stare.
Yeah, I just think it's a really unique environment. And the coolest thing is TFT promotes like study groups. That's what they call them. It's like imagine your own study groups in school and you all come together and there's study groups that cosplay and like have like group outfits. It's awesome. I actually think I hope that's something moving forward. Like people in groups just like dress up for this stuff. That'd be awesome. Really cool.
I think this Vegas Open especially showcased a lot of the personality for some players. Where at home, you're just playing at home, you can't really showcase. If you're a streamer, sure, but all these players on Challenger, players on Ladder, you can't really showcase that. We see here so many people dressed up, so many people that are performing at a high level, but they're coming in with tiger masks, with lab coats, like
shout
so
out
many
to that,
awesome
man.
stuff going on in this land that you would not see from home.
Yes, and I think that adds a lot to it. I think it's really interesting because TFT is, a lot of people consider it like a solved game, just go fast 9. But there's a lot of nuance and players have very specific preferences. Even up until like last Worlds, people were opening different items. Before they took away the initial item carousel, you would literally talk to people and they'd be like, I always start this. I always start this. At Worlds, there's one person who only went here. Only one person. I'm like, this guy's a freak. This guy's crazy.
Yeah.
But I like it.
We have one player in EMEA that spent so much time in like PBE practice tool, just practicing every single opener back then when it still gave components.
It's
so
crazy.
It's a thing and players are trying to min-max as much as possible.
Even down to very small things like Raditz practices going in between units on the carousel.
Yeah.
He's really good at it. He can go in between all the units and get to the other side faster than anyone else.
Oh, that's
Everyone
so
goes around.
funny.
And
Yeah.
I am just like, I'm too scared. Why did you practice this? This is a weird skill. But
Yes.
At some point in time, it might be the thing that actually gives you the edge.
he's amazing
though,
at it. Like actually.
I mean, if that's the difference between getting a spat or not, or something
it's-
game changing.
Sometimes it can be. It is really funny. It's super funny.
I mean, you talked about some of the nuance of the game. One of the things I always find so impressive, and it's been fun for me walking around watching, is when you're watching a player really screwed in their opener. Like they're not hitting anything. They have such like a complicated line that they have to play. Maybe their items aren't good. And watching those players then problem solve their way to like a fifth sometimes is more impressive than watching someone high roll their way to a first.
Yes, and the only part about the tournament I feel really bad about is like top 2ing. Some of these lobbies they have monsters in them.
Yeah.
And even getting top 4 in some of these lobbies is a difficult deal. I know Milk barely missed out, and that's obviously my teammate, but I'm also a huge Milk fan, even though he is a consistent, the most negative person I know. He tied and like got 3rd or something, and it was like, that's a player who I would wanted to see in a later lobby. You know, same with Dish Soap, same with Setsuko. God bless him. I'm sorry he didn't do too well day 1, but it's just like, I feel like that a lot of players like walk away from this and be like, man, top 2 was so difficult. So I'm hoping that like in the future we'd have formats where there's like more games, because obviously we want the lower variants, but also the time is really difficult. I think.
Yeah, I think you either have to decide to like cut down on the sample size that you're getting in initially, which would be a shame, frankly. Yes. Or you have to make the event longer, Riot.
Because
7 days.
The open bracket stuff is really cool. Like,
yeah.
I genuinely think it's so cool that I could be watching this and think, damn, that looks like a cool event. Grind, maybe get Challenger, and next year, if they have another one, you could be here and you could be signed up and you could be playing. That's really cool.
It's so funny. They show the ranks of the players. And I see that one of the top people was Broccoli, and it says Mastered. I'm like, that guy is a multi-challenger smurf. I 100% know who that guy is because Ray's really good friends with him. It's just the last sets he wasn't Challenger. I'm like, no, that guy is super good. It's really interesting to see people that I recognize, and they have very different reads.
Yeah.
Like he's a player who first started spamming too healthy, the Augment, which I thought was completely awful, but he is like really good at using it throughout the game. And so I think it's really fun to meet people who I know online, but meeting them in person is like completely different thing, you know. It's like meeting your online friends for the first time and then competing against some of them. You know, I compete against Dog, who I've been friends with for years, you know. And then losing to him, I'm always just like, oh god.
He's gonna bring this up for the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, no, it's not a big deal. Like he's,
you know, hopefully there's another one and you can revenge yourself.
No, it's funny enough because the first TFT ever event was a Twitch Rivals, and me and him both made top 8 in that Twitch Rivals with Milk.
Yeah,
I think. And so it's really funny to see us come back for this event.
Getting to meet some of the people. So was it your first time meeting a number of the DSG people, or did you already know them all?
In person, I have never met a single DSG person except for Robin.
Okay, so
really? Wow.
Were they kind of like what you expected, or was anyone really different in person? Because I always find it fun to like match up the online persona with the real person.
They're exactly the same person. Like, exact to the T. I don't really see any difference really. I'd never even like seen Setsuko or Disso before, so that was a first impression kind of thing. And then Kiyun, Milk, Soju. Milk is exactly the same. Like you could not. He speaks in Twitch emotes, and it's exactly the same person. It's so funny though.
I love that, and I feel like that way with a lot of the players that I got to talk to leading up to this event. It's like, you know, you talk to them, and even at the pre-party, somebody approached me and was like, hey, you're Makes, right? You asked me about like the Japanese players going into the World Championship, and I was like, oh my god, yes. And it's so crazy how many people are actually part of this giant community. And I personally am so happy that they're getting an event like this that showcases exactly that community.
It's a highlight of the event for me for sure. I love casting, but anytime I have a break, I've been just walking around, shaking hands, trying to meet as many people as possible because we don't know how many chances we're gonna have. Hopefully, at least one a year. Hopefully, we see a lot more of this kind of stuff in the future. Well, it's just a start, hopefully, but you never know. So this chance for myself, I think for any players here, even if you're eliminated, go around, shake hands, network, meet some friends that you've been seeing online for so long because it's a golden opportunity to do so.
And I mean, we're in Vegas. You know, if after you watch everyone, you go out with people and it's fun. I know for a fact that one of the players was out partying so really late.
Don't say who.
Don't say who.
Wait, before or after elimination here?
No, he was not eliminated.
Oh, don't say who for sure then.
He woke up drunk and he had to play his day one games. And
Oh,
I don't know how
no.
well he did, but I don't know if he he could have qualified. I did not check the results yet.
That's actually really funny. Something Keen was on here earlier, and he was talking about, how some of the players from China play really differently. Like, have you had a chance to go around and watch any different players that you're fans of, or see, different regions and kind of maybe how they play the game?
Since I never really took the game too seriously until very recently, I mainly watch American streamers because they're in my own time zone, as well as that's pretty much it. Like I feel
it's also easier, same language. And
exactly.
Stuff. Yeah.
But before then, I used to watch a decent amount of European streamers. I used to watch a lot of Decisive, Salvi, and I think Salvi they both came to this event. They're monster players. They're really, really good.
Salvi, yeah.
Yeah, and then I think the people I learned the most from watching is Appies and Asa.
Oh, cool.
And Socks.
Asa's really educational. He's a great streamer.
I think their Asa and their study group is very interesting. Socks has such a unique mind for the game. He was running Zed in the first patch. He was the only player playing Zed. You see his match history. Before anyone else touched him, he was playing Zed all the way through, or halfway through. And I'm like, wow, this guy's smart. This guy's a genius. And he has a full-time job, has a kid. And so he'll qualify for Worlds with that.
Built different.
That's so impressive.
Yeah,
I couldn't agree more. But we've been seeing the viewers and fans out there for the past couple of seconds. So let's hear what they have to say.
All right, everybody, I am here with Zap149, who's going to be testing out his luck at our side event, Mastermind, where you'll be controlling 4 PCs at once. So tell me first, have you ever played a format like this before?
Never in my life. It's something that I never could prepare for this.
Okay, so obviously it's difficult, it's brand new, but I want to know, how are you going to find an edge over the field?
So my thought, don't tell anyone else this, my thought is to use reroll and just click on the units that show up for one board. So I might run Punk. Don't tell anyone else, even though it's bad.
All right, give me a number, 1 to 10, confidence level. How likely are you to win this whole thing?
Oh, about a -10. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a gold 4 player, so yeah. We'll make it though.
All right, I love to hear it. Good luck to you, and back to you. All right, I'm back again at the Mastermind side event, this time with Kai, one of the influencers attending the Vegas Open. So Kai, first tell me, have you ever competed in an event like this before?
I've never done it in my life. I'm kind of scared, low-key.
All right, in a field like this, pretty much nobody has done this, right? So what are you bringing to the table that's going to give you an edge over the field?
Oh, infinite IQ. I already got a game plan. I'm in it to win it. I already know what I'm going to do. My strategy is all set. I'm good to go.
All right, now give me a number, 1 to 10. How likely are you to win the whole thing?
13.
Oh my goodness, well, you heard it here first. We've got the winner of the Mastermind event already set. All right, well, that's enough from us. Back to you. Hello, everybody, back here at the Mastermind event, this time with Silverfuse, who's going to be competing in it. Silverfuse, first tell me, have you ever done anything like this before?
No, how could you? You never had this many TFT players in the same room together.
Very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never before have we seen something like this. So tell me, what are you going to do to find an edge over some of the other competitors?
Okay, so when I play TFT, I usually have something going on the second screen, whether it be a movie or something. So I'm really good at this multitasking stuff of playing TFT. So I'm thinking that maybe I have a little bit of an upper hand here but then I realize a lot of people do that too. But I'm pretty good at it, so I'll be all right.
They thought they were giving you a curveball, but they actually just put you in your comfort zone,
yeah,
right?
No,
okay.
I mean, how can you just focus on the game? It was kind of weird playing in the tournament earlier, and I was like, wait, there's nothing here to distract me.
Sure. All right, give me a number, 1 through 10. How confident are you that you're taking the whole thing?
An 8.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, I want to see it happen. All right, thank you so much, Silverfuse.
Hello everyone, I'm here with Dr. Gert, who is one of the players at the TFT Vegas Open. How are you doing, and where are you in the competition right now?
I'm doing pretty good. I expected to be out round 1, so top 32 is very nice.
How long have you been playing TFT, and were you excited about being able to come to an event like this?
Yeah, so I've been playing TFT since set 3. I started playing competitively about 6, competitively ranked. And I mean, I'm super psyched to come to this event. Ole Miss Esports sponsored me, so they paid for my flight, my hotel, everything, so that was super awesome. So all this money's just going straight into the pocket.
Oh, well, that's amazing. That not only did you get a chance to be able to play with a sponsor, but you also had a chance to be here, and you were in the top 32. So how is it going so far?
It's going pretty well. I had exams, so I couldn't really play, So I've just been blatantly high rolling, and hopefully that continues. So.
Well, we are in Vegas, so maybe the high roll is the way. But Dr. Gert, thank you so much, and best of luck.
Thank you.
I love that, saying like, oh, I thought I was gonna get day one, but suddenly I'm here in like the top 30. That's a statement.
Despite the extreme cutoff, despite a lot of favorites being knocked out, I think it's great to see also Underdog that maybe this will be the event where they make a name for themselves. They could get that momentum forward into ladder throughout the set, throughout all of set 10 maybe. Maybe they'll make the championship as well.
I think the best story is the story that comes from the open bracket.
Yeah.
You have, it's like how EVO is born, right? You have, anyone can sign up and you can go all through the bracket. And if you have people go through the bracket who are like master GM, you don't expect them to go too far and they make it top 32, that's crazy.
It's really cool. I mean, that's literally how I got sponsored in the first place, was showing up to an MLG, winning an MLG. You know, it's like that's how a lot of these esports stories are made, is people just showing up to a big event, proving themselves. You know, maybe they can use that to springboard themselves into being a streamer, into getting a sponsor, into kind of, you know, turning it more full time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big deal. I love open bracket stuff because it's like, oh, you get to see like, especially if the people in the open bracket are very good.
Yeah.
Like when you have the best competing with other people, like of course you'll have a lot of people, the best like advancing, but you'll have like crazy, I guess like over performances and under performances by players, and it's really fun as a spectator.
Yeah, I mean, we had over 200 challenger players in the event, and only 128 people made it to day 2.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? But we are just so close to starting the second round of the day and the 4 games that remain to give us the final 8. We're gonna go to one more quick break to let them set up their stage PCs, and then we will be back with that first game of round 2 of the day. Welcome back after that short break. I hope you're all feeling refreshed. I know we are, and we are gonna go to that very first game very shortly. Now, maybe to give you a little bit of teaser, who's in that lobby, we have a couple of heavy hitters, not only both of the KC cousins, Canvas and Double 61, but also Michael from Latam, Dobbs from Brazil, and Phoenix, Ripple Overdrive, Turtle Ducking, and Malala. This is a stacked lobby.
I want to step in and say, a bit more about Double 61 and Canvas, because in my opinion, it's one of the best stories about this lobby now, this tournament, but also just TFT's history overall. Double 61 won the first ever championship back in Galaxies in set 3.
Yep.
Canvas, his cousin, both played at an elite
Best
level.
friends.
Canvas smurfed in set 8 at EMEA. He won a GSC, he won regionals, he made it to Worlds as well. They're both now elevated to that same level. And they're both repping Carmen Core, one of the biggest esport orgs in the world, coming from France. And to see them both playing in this lobby, if they both advance, that's going to be one of the craziest stories this tournament.
I've seen Double's name in like almost every worlds that I've watched, and he has been a consistent, strong performer from the region.
We're gonna hop into that very first game with these guys. A loaded carousels coming up as a portal. A little bit of extra on the carousels for everyone, but while we are talking about our EMEA guys, I do want to shout out Dobbs and Michael as well. Brazil and Latam came into this tournament with a very small sample size, and making it to the top 32 has to be a storyline.
Michael is so funny. I was in line, and this guy comes up to me, never met him before in my life. He asked for a picture. I like, cool, okay. We take a picture, and then we start talking, and he's like, you nervous? I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of anxious. He's like, I'm not. I went to Worlds twice. I'm like, huh?
What a flex.
And then, he still didn't tell me his name, so we left. And I saw him again later, and I'm like, how'd you do? He's like, oh, I first placed my lobby. I was like, oh my god, this
Who's this guy?
So good. And I had to meet him a third time, and I was like, what is your name? And he's like, Michael. And I'm like, thank you. You're crazy. And every time I see him, he's just dominating everything. It's so funny.
He's made it to back-to-back World Championships now in both Set 8 and Set 9, representing Sudo's Gaming. And just overall, I think one of the new big talents from Latam. He used to be a bit of a choke artist when it came to qualifying to Worlds. He had a lot of pressure on him mentally. He was kind of Setsuko of Latam for a long time. And that turned around completely in Set 8. And now since then, he's been just unhinged, just smurfing on absolutely everyone.
Crazy, because when I talked to him, he told me one of the people he was worried about was Setsuko. And
Yeah,
obviously Setsuko
it makes sense.
didn't have a great performance here, but I think on last patch he was the best player in the world.
I mean, he had it was 38% win rate, first place rate, I believe it was on ladder.
I watched,
insane.
If you watch his games, this guy is a literal magician at going
fast.
Yeah.
We're getting started here with some prismatics straight away.
Awesome. I wonder if anyone's willing to take Cool Pack. I know March is usually the preference, but Cool Pack makes the lobby so fun.
We're having March in the bottom left as an option.
Chomping Spree is also really big, but it was rerolled there on the left middle side. Level up is also big for Fast 9. Of course, level 8 and rolling on 8 is much more, I think, preferred for stabilizing on this current patch. But I think level up is still a great augment.
Level up can be really good, but it feels pretty risky because there can be so much combat power that comes from these prismatic augments. The pace of the lobby.
The changes to level up help it a lot in taking it 2-1. They lowered the amount of XP you get on button press, but they give you a lot of initial XP. So you're still hitting 5 intervals early, which help you a lot in these lobbies. Also, this guy's got crazy stationary. Oh my god.
Yeah, we just saw it very briefly. I think there's 4 people in this lobby that picked up stationary, and then 2 people on March. That's a lot of very similar augments.
Right now, when you're taking stationary, I think most people are looking for Gem. Gem, right now, I think Gem is a little overtuned for one reason, because Gem counts the stationary as an additional ally. So you're getting an extra 1 gold, 1 to 2 gold every round really early. So I'm really just blown away. So people just obviously beg for Gem every time.
Yeah, and I mean late game, it's literally just Ascension, procking for your team, right?
Yes.
That can be insane.
And also in this meta, I was talking to a lot of my teammates and other people, you are able to play the melee line a lot better if you get QSS on the stationary as well. So it's stationary allows you to do a lot of different things with it. Obviously, you can get a really bad one, super bad one, but it is very flexible, very good.
Yeah, we've seen some where they get something I can't even remember the name of the one where it's when it dies, it increases the healing. What is that?
Oh,
it's not Aegis.
No, it's not Aegis. I can't. Anyway,
Virtue?
Virtue.
Virtue of the Martyr.
And it was backline, something backline,
Exactly.
right?
It was it's Virtue, and then you get that with a backline thing. It was Virtue Gem.
Yes.
Because you want the gem to proc, so you don't want it to
Banshee's
be
This
Yeah.
one is
thing.
so interesting. Okay, this is actually BIS Jax, but no one plays that line, so I don't really want to talk about it. But QSS allows a lot of really interesting frontline positioning.
I think last patch it was not so preferred, I think. So this patch, I think there's even less low rolls, which is why it makes it even more consistent.
Well, the fact that you actually get a lot of attack speed from the...
It's still good in backline.
Yep, exactly.
Especially right now with crowd divers, Yone, you can hard corner your carry and not be super punished for it.
Yep, it's actually really, really nice. And so many people are playing into those crowd diver lines. We've seen a lot more Zeds. We've seen, obviously, a lot of people playing towards Kiana and stuff as well to cap out your board. So even if it's just like 2 or 4 crowd diver, a lot of people are mixing that in.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see who's willing to play melee lines, because you can play Riven, Yone, Zed, Akali. Like pretty much every melee under the sun is possible.
Diego as well.
Attack. Yes, it's really interesting.
Kane is good too at times.
Oh yeah, Kane is insane. Kiana will win you the game. It's really interesting. I saw someone recom yesterday.
Yeah.
At 3-2 for a 1 in 9 chance of hitting a Kiana, and they missed.
Oh no!
But it was Kiyu, because you need to get first in the lobby to qualify.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I like the play.
I respect it.
Yeah, respect.
I mean, when you're playing those kind of things, and that's one of the interesting things for me about this tournament format is that as you get deeper, it's not okay to just farm like a 4th, right? Because only top 2 advance. You need to be going for those first place finishes, especially if you have one bad start.
Phoenix is a cheater. Anyone who gets Senna 2 in the first couple stages,
you're the boogeyman.
This is the best AP carry mid game in. You can use it till stage 4 every time.
We had a precedent on the last stage
Yeah.
game. Got a Senna 3 by 3-3. He's re-rolling twice.
Wow. Yeah,
That's,
this unit is crazy.
That's even harder because usually in stage 3, if someone sees a Senna headliner in their shop, they insta-buy it. They take so many to the pool any chance they get, even just not headliner. If you have a chance to get a Senna 2, it's a very stable way, as you're mentioning, to go past stage past 9.
It uses like almost every item, and it's just, like such an incredible headliner.
And the best item, the show generation.
And the worst part is it also is the best complement to the Heartsteel line. So, and everyone who wants to play Heartsteel will also be holding Sennas.
Yeah, it's definitely that kind of blue-eyed white dragon that everybody's looking for in the early game at least. But here you see the loaded carousels come to play. Everybody's going to get double components. And that is very interesting to me for several reasons. First of all, there are some comps that just do better if you have multiple carries. And so those comps suddenly become more of an option here, like looking at the Akali Karthus, for example. But also, you're going to have an easier time hitting those target items that you're looking for.
Yeah, like when you're playing the disco line, usually you have TF carry with like a couple items on Ziggs, and you have one tank.
Yeah.
But like with multiple items, there's not much more to itemize.
Exactly. I think it's really important to play comps that have those secondary carries. I was also talking to some players about the extra component carousels and the idea that at times it can be better to actually tank earlier in these lobbies, and you can hit such perfect itemization that they feel that can actually springboard your mid game into such an advantage.
I love the cousin split screen here. How many times can you actually say that in esports on a main broadcast stage in the top 32? That is just so cool as a narrative.
Did they take the same augment?
Yeah, they did.
That is so funny.
There's 4 players with the stationary. You can see it here. They're like all fighting each other.
The really interesting player is Malala. The guy took Caretaker's Chosen. That is a very strange augment to take. I don't know how good it is because it's definitely a scaling augment. Usually when you're at 3-2, you're taking an augment that has immediate power. He decided to take one that gives him an artifact anvil later in the game.
I feel like specifically with how this patch seems to play out from everything we've seen, that's a smart decision. Because you are going to go into the later stages. You are looking for those level 9 boards. And so then that actually becomes much more valuable. But of course, it does put you in a little bit of a pressure point for now, trying to get through the early stages where everybody else is getting immediate upgrades.
Ripple Overdrive, almost 40 gold nearing the end of stage 2 here. So really had a gold start probably, and really maximizing that econ, trying to spike somewhere in stage 3. Yeah, we see it now, 40 gold here.
I think right now Lost Freaking is super good. Everyone I've talked to, and just in general, spatulas are worth a fortune right now.
Yeah.
Before it wasn't really good. You couldn't even use 8-bit. True damage wasn't great, but now true damage is incredible. 7KD has insane power right now. I think it's super underrated, and even Pentakill spat has a lot of flexibility. And so like right now, the Lost Freaking is a very smart play.
I mean, it's so interesting because I feel like the spatula value went up so much compared to last set because tomes were so easy to get, right? Everyone had tomes, so it didn't necessarily matter if you had that extra spatula. Tarantula. But now, you know, it lets you to hit those kind of higher tiers of some of these trades that are ridiculously strong.
Yeah, I think like right now, like 7 KDA is something that I feel like is very like relatively underrated. Even though I've seen it a lot of broadcasts, and you can get away with a lot of just raw stats by having it. Any combination of like bulk or 2 healthy with 7 KDA gives you like 3,000, 4,000 HP on your itemized
That's
tank.
crazy.
Yes.
Now we're seeing Ripple Overdrive with the money coming through here, and you can also see why.
And 2 wins in a row, sitting at 50 gold, a really good spot and really healthy overall. We'll see what he can do in this stage 3 with all this extra gold here. He has a nice setup, shows in one of the best items, Rage Blade on the item component bench as well.
And it looks like he's on Buried Treasures, right?
Yes.
So he's just gonna have so
this guy
many
will have
components.
5 itemized units.
Exactly.
Buried Treasure, I think, loses a little bit of value because everyone gets so many components on this specific thing, but is statistically really, really good and a very, very strong opener. You will have perfect items for this, I guarantee.
What kind of comp would you be looking towards then? If you're playing this sort of line where you're gonna have that many items, you want to obviously have a lot of really effective item holders.
Aside from the very obvious line of legendaries, melee carries can itemize probably 3 units at a time, give or take, as well as any kind of most of the boards after that. Karthus Akali can itemize a lot of that. Not very strong super late game, but definitely great in the mid game, and same with Ari Akali as well. I think that any of the melee lines can work, and you can do a combination of like Caitlyn plus an AP carry and run really unique boards in the mid game because you're gonna have it, you know. I also think Vex is really good right now. Even Vex 2 can help a lot in the melee stack boards, and this guy hits a Urgot Chosen.
This monster though.
On 3-1.
The one thing I'm wondering about is buried treasures in a loaded carousel portal. If there is like any point where you hit something like diminishing returns on not having units that make good use of the items.
I'm not gonna lie, I think if he get hits, when you take buried treasure, you look for one out that's really interesting. If he hits What the Forge on this,
that would be crazy.
He gets the most crazy board possible.
Even just cybernetics.
Free HP.
Yes,
Bulk, uplink,
Bulk gives insane value as well. So I think those are the things that he's looking for. And honestly, I was talking to I was listening to Broccoli talk about the current meta, and he says he rolls every game at 3-2, every single game. And I think rolling early and rolling a little bit on every level to stabilize is how like you can make effectively strong boards without bleeding out too much.
It's so interesting because we have, so if you look at the bottom left, you notice that how many rolls people have spent, how much gold they've spent on rolls and how much gold they've spent on XP.
Yep.
And so this is
my goodness.
Wait.
Another prismatic.
Well, this is hype. This is awesome.
But the Forge up top, but it's not Ripple. It's
At
not
the
Ripple.
left side, is that Ripple? No.
Oh, and if
Sorry, it's far away. I'm squinting.
If people want to win out, Final Reserve, it's too early in the day for Final Reserves, but on Game 4, you will see people picking that, 100%.
We had 2 option Final Reserves. I think it's a little bit too risky. I get, as you're mentioning, Game 4, I get you,
People told me they would never take Final Reserves unless they're guaranteed 8 in the lobby already.
Exactly. And I think Fast 9, there are such strong boards on 8 that it's not, you know, you go 9 on 4-2, there's not a guarantee you're winning all of that stage 4.
Oh my, Malala took Freaky Friday. He will have 5 units itemized this game as well.
And Freaky Friday is so much better this patch with so many melee carries especially. And they're so much more viable.
It's like literally BIS and Yorick, BIS and Kali. It is literal BIS and Urgot, so it's just really, it's really flexible.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so much better on these kind of like pseudo-tanky units because you get value out of the HP, the armor, the MR, you get value out of everything.
I love this mid-game carry for Ripple Overdrive. Lux is one of the, it actually is so annoying because you will just lose so many rounds in the mid game because you cannot properly play against this character.
Yeah.
And so he got a really interesting AP carry that will punish a lot of players in a lot of positions.
Exactly. I mean, people don't have enough backline in a lot of cases to actually position for the Lux, to have a bait to actually eat those early Lux lasers. And an early Lux 2 headliner can 1 or 2 shot your carry in a lot of times.
He's chunking a lot of people for damage that people do not want to take in prismatic lobbies.
Yep.
So we did see Ripple Overdrive's forward there for a second is on Harm Assist as second Augment. Did not find the What the Forge despite it popping up on 2 other players'
Didn't get
boards.
cybernetic bulk either. That's actually a little, I don't know about unlucky, but that's just a little sad for him because I feel like that's what he was looking for.
I wonder if you ever considered playing Lux carry. I think we haven't seen it at all on main broadcast. I know it's not considered to be good. You need to have like 5 rods to make it worth it.
Lux, I mean, this is the game.
That might be it, exactly.
But it's just one of those things where it's like you're rolling down and you have Lux, and then suddenly you hit like 5 Luxes, and then you play it. But except for that, like
Zed on bench as well.
Super high roll. Oh.
The big thing is finding also on 7, find that Zed and Zach. early on to have that huge EDM spike.
Yeah.
And finding a lot of natural luck. There's so much has to happen for you to consider it, but if it happens, I think it's definitely consideration.
Yes.
Part of the problem is it also, like, I feel like gets outcapped so heavily by a lot of the level 9 boards.
Yes.
Because when you get to 9 and people get things like Alawi, you can bait with tentacles, you can do all these sorts of plays that waste so much of the Lux's time.
Alawi is actually like a vibe killer. No offense to everyone.
Kills Lux.
Yeah, like, it is just like a super vibe killer for a lot of characters. And so like it makes certain carries, especially non-AoE carries, feel very bad sometimes.
I mean, Ahri, if Ahri gets stuck on tentacles and York ghouls and stuff, that is why I feel like AoE is king in late game, right?
It is, for sure.
Something we kind of have to point out are 3 spatulas
Open
coming
spat for
through
Michael.
here in the carousel.
He's
That
last pick,
has
though.
to be a target.
Everyone will take this because you're literally allowed to pick whatever you want for this.
Yeah, I mean, Malala is down quite low. Turtle Duckling down low as well. Malala's sitting around, I think, around 50-ish.
Spat might be open. Michael, his last pick. If he can race to it in time, no one's picking it up. He's able to get a free Tactician's Crown, which is a massive spike here in stage 3.
Okay, you didn't see it, but I saw it. He's over there, and he just did like the double fist pump in the air as he picked it up. That is huge.
And Michael, from your story, Scara, I think you already kind of alluded to it. He's a very confident player. He's really become confident the last few sets, especially.
So actually, when you're playing this comp, usually that item is actually kind of dangerous because you need to itemize Vex to win, Urgot, Smear, and your tank. But he has Freaky Friday. He has this specific board with a double carousel.
And this portal.
He's so happy to have the Tactician's Crown. He is in a great, amazing spot.
I mean, it is really, really nice. It's going to help him to beef up his front line a little bit more as well. He's already got 4 Moshra in, so actually it's a tremendous amount of sustain for that Urgot. And he has Last Whisper early as well.
Remember we talking about how Urgot was so good with Freaky Friday? He took it just to put both of them on it.
Yeah.
Something in this lobby, though, is that we are already in a double prismatic lobby. Of course, we don't know what the last one is going to be, but that's a lot of tempo pressure on some of the boards. And one of them I'm looking toward is Malala, who has now bled a lot of HP, and Michael actually even losing here despite the fawn.
His Lux doing so much.
Yeah, I want to see what Malala is actually going to figure out, in these next rounds. You basically are at that point where you've got to start spending gold, you've got to start turning things around.
And this is why stagers take a later game augment at T1, because you are in a tough spot.
I mean, Malala did have a big duplicator, so that's something that was working for you. Maybe you can 2-star something.
So with a big duplicator, a lot of times what I do is just roll all the way down to 8. Even in a fast 9 meta, if you hit 2 the same 5 costs, it allows you to stabilize super easy.
Can bail you out really hard.
It's super bail, especially if it's Kayn or Kiana. I think Kayn right now is one of the best 5 costs and can actually like solo bring you back. Same with Kiana.
I mean, you need a bailout. He's still sitting on this Kaisa as the headliner. The frontliners are all like 1-star. You're not even that rich.
The Spat is dead to level 9 too, so he's taking a high risk, and to get this bailout, like I think he wants to lose this round. To keep his gold, he wants to lose by 1, and he's gonna roll it all down at 4-2 for 1.
He's gonna get slammed though, I think.
Yeah, I think he might lose to more than
like
just 1. The Urgot has both of these infinities, and he's just slicing through the board.
Okay, it's like 3.
Not looking too bad.
Oh, it's okay.
All right, all right.
Wait.
Oh my god.
Wait.
Wait, this Samir is not doing anything. And the Kaiser's able to do it. 3 items.
I thought he was going to get stomped by that country board.
Okay, yeah, I think he's pretty happy even winning that because his life is getting to a point where he should be a little worried.
Good thing for Malala as well is that he didn't roll at all yet. We saw it there on the overlay for a second. So all of the gold has gone into leveling, into getting that level 9 to then make use of the spatula and everything else. But he needs to live until then.
I think it's crazy he didn't spend some gold to stabilize. This guy's insane.
Yeah, Turtle Duckling as well was also really low. Did hit that pretty early TF, so it has Disco in. And it was already playing the Tarek, just techs in. That Gragas alongside it, and you have 3 Disco and decent items.
Is that TF1 or 2? That's 1,
That's
right?
1.
So TF1 and part this one I've realized are useless units. Because they're AoE units, but their base damage isn't strong enough to kill stuff. So if it's your only carry, it whittles everyone down to like 40%, and then you lose and take a 7-0 in this stage. I've so many times realized that it's just not good.
Looks like Michael might be committing to this country line, at least for now, rolling on 7, rolling pretty heavily. Could just be stabilizing this board for stage 4, but could also, if he hits a few high rolls, be looking to 3-star some of these units.
He's deciding how deep he wants to roll. He hit the Smear 2, he's looking at Vex 2, and he's looking at the Guardian,
Mumu?
Thresh, but he can't consistently hit that at 7. So I think he's gonna stop because he's not itemized on Vex. I think that's smart.
These items are also a bit odd here.
I commonly overroll on this in this position, and it feels really bad. But like, it's about saving as much gold as possible.
still a good amount of ergots in the pool. There is our amazing overlay is telling us 14 left for grabs if you wanted them. He did pick up the additional Samira as well. We are going down that line. I feel like for Michael, you need to find those wins now, and it might just be the case that he can find one against Turtle.
Oh, Samir surviving is so big for the DPS, but yeah, it should be an easy win
This
here for
TF
Michael.
has full 3 items, but can't like missing a little bit, right?
Yeah,
it's actually a fraud.
exactly what you said, right? He's
Yeah,
not able to actually.
I'm telling you,
backline.
I feel really bad. Like I've been in that position so many times too.
And for Ripple, still the Lux on the board here. Such a good play to actually go for the Lux in stage 3. Has not lost a fight. He's still win streaking
I
going
think
to
he's
stage
good.
4.
He's down to sack even like up to 4-5 if he wants to.
Golden Augments, as last one though, the dream of what the Forge is at. Ripple is in the bottom center. He is looking for maybe some cybernetic value, but it's not coming through.
So Michael's looking for Threes of Company, and everyone else is looking for Inspiring Epitaph. Like pretty much, that's the almost the best augment period for both lines.
And it will be Epitaph for quite a few players, it looks like there. Duplicator for Micah, so he is looking like he's coming to a 3-cost reroll in this case, trying to have that ease to find maybe the Urgot or the Samira 3, or even the Mech, as you mentioned, Scara.
Oh,
Early Kiana as well with a Radiant TG could be a scary thing to face in this stage 4. Positioning going to be so important for Malala, has to be scouting each and every one of his opponents that are in his pool for these fights.
So Malala is at 5 gold, but he's going to 0 every round maybe. Depending on his position, if he hits another Kiana, he gets bailed out so hard.
Could be a true damage spat as well with the open spat. That could be huge.
And it's always awesome. True damage is one of the best spats you can make, super flexible.
This Lux, man, he is getting so much value out of this headliner. I'm actually very, very impressed by how we're running that one.
I mean, it's working really, really well. You know, is on that 6th streak now, still at 30 gold, already level 8. You know, Ripple Overdrive is in such a good spot. Like that's a spot where I don't even think he has to roll on 8, despite this being that meta where people are feeling like they have to roll a lot more.
He might do a little bit, but it looks like he's stable to 5.
76 HP, 30 gold.
I think he's pushing to 5 too.
Yeah.
And there's a reason not to do so, because he might be looking for Ahri as a carry after that Lux, and there's already an Ahri chosen, so if you're those Ahris out of the pool, it might be harder to hit. I think you take your chances, go 9 instead, and look for a 5-cost AP carry.
Yeah.
Oh, Phoenix is side to reroll MF here. He has Jazz Bat, he has the MF.
He's on a full Jazz line. He has 4 Jazz with his spatula on
He
the
doesn't
bench.
want to use the spat. Like, ideally, if he hit his MF,
Yeah, exactly.
using the spat is so bad for him because he needs to cap out with oh, he had to do it, man.
That feels bad.
Yeah, he wanted to cap out with 2-star 5 cost, and you're stuck at 8 with his Augment for a long time. March does not go 9, pretty much.
Reforges the Shojin into a red buff, so a pretty good reforge there in the end. Goes right onto the MF. Yeah. Much, much worse.
I think he's really sad for not having, I don't know if he has Demon Shroud yet, but he needs Armor Pen in this game, or else he can't do anything.
And Michael, Samira 3 already. The Duplicator came in clutch, maybe hit a few extra Samiras across the way.
Yeah, and you see he's at 10 gold, but he's fine. He's chilling. He's gonna
stable
be
for
fine.
at least a full stage.
Absolutely.
Gonna be going into the next carousel, and I'm just looking on the right side of the screen, checking in with the level of the players.
Is Malala on the Kiana side? Oh, he's looking for Kiana. He's
Phoenix is trying to deny here.
wiggling.
The bodyguard. He's bodyguarding, and Phoenix takes it away. Devastating.
You have to do it. That guy literally goes from last place straight to like top 4 if he gets that 1 unit.
The same way you had to deny the spat in stage 3, and no one did it. Michael was last pick and still got it.
But it's even more crazy because he has Radiant TG on Kiana. So he just gets like infinite value if he gets Kiana too. And Prince Infinite items.
I think it's a hard decision to make, to be honest. I was just talking to Tartman earlier today, who was in a similar game on the main stage yesterday, where yes, you don't want other people to fly high with those spatulas, but you also don't want to grief your own game plan. You need those top 2 finishers here, and that's hard.
Wow, double skip.
A huge roll down.
Double skip Caitlyn chosen.
Skip Ahri as well.
He's looking for frontline. So he's looking for his poppy, right?
He skipped the Thresh as well, though.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I guess he just had to settle, but Poppy is, I think, the best tank. If the best tank before 5 cost, maybe even the best tank even in 5 cost sometimes. She is incredible, specifically with health items. Warmog, Steric, Steadfast are her best items, and he has 2 Warmogs, so of course.
And she does a lot of hammering too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of sustain is really what makes it so durable.
Yeah, she literally goes infinite as a tank, and her base stats are the best in the game.
Yeah, look at this Ahri. Literally, it's like 6 or 7 casts when Ahri uses 2 casts and kills almost everything. Still think it's going to be a very close fight. Will be a loss for Double in the end. The Ahri and the Senna able to take down the Caitlyn, and Double starting to fall a little bit in the HP standings. He was first most of this game.
And he went 0 there, right? So it's like that's always the worst feeling is when you send it and then you still lose and you can start to feel that you're gonna really be falling down.
So usually when I play prismatic lobbies, I'm counting at the very beginning of 2-1. How many people go March? How many people go Pro Pact?
Yeah.
How many people take going long? No one. But like, you know, when it gets good at some point, because that means everyone's re-rolling for 3 costs usually when taking any of those augments, and the tempo of the lobby gets increased really quickly. In prismatic lobbies, you take a lot of damage. And especially if people are taking those augments, and there's 2 people with March in this lobby, 2 people re-rolling, so going 9 is going to be difficult for a lot of people.
Upgrade for Ripple here, but we just saw Phoenix roll it down 2-0, trying to find that last Bard that he's looking for before he automatically goes level 8. Did not come into fruition. It's sitting on 19 HP. I'm starting to worry.
Double is so sad because Karthus can go around the infinite tank copy and just snipe his backline and think it's too fast.
It is a 1-star Caitlyn as well, but the Infinity Force might be doing enough to give her enough armor and just overall survivability here.
That's one of the things about this set is that there's so many ways to access backline that you can't just always play these simple kind of front to back style comps. Akali can go backline, Karthus can go backline, TF can go backline, Ziggs can go backline. There's so many ways for those carries to get taken down.
Phoenix down to 8, found another loss in this round, and that could be his last life.
6 loss streak for Phoenix, 5 loss streak for Cambiz, both on a singular life at this point in time coming into stage 5. And obviously in a game like this, in a lobby like this, with only 4 games to be played, you cannot really have an 8th and still dream of advancing. It becomes that much more difficult. You have to pretty much smurf and go.
You have to be like top 2, 3.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna lie, I think anyone in MF re-rolling right now is crazy. I think if you take all that jazz, it's like an okay re-roll. And if you hit everything really early, it's like okay. But
Jazz is so much weaker on this
Jazz is a lot weaker on this patch without the gold augment. And you need the gold augment and Jazz patch. So it's like, I feel like the best he could have placed this for. It's to be a perfect scenario, and he didn't get the perfect scenario.
Looking at Michael, going for Katarina 3 as well, which is not the common line to take with country reroll.
Yeah.
No item Katarina, very interesting. And Cambiz, we're seeing maybe part of why he's been loose streaking. Picked up What the Forge. You can't really guarantee what items you're going to get. Has a Yorick 1 holding 3 artifacts, which is maybe not ideal here.
Well,
singular tank
look
as
at
well.
His Akali. He has no good items for his Akali.
Exactly.
This is the problem with What the Forge is that sometimes you get way too much of one type item. Too many AP, too many tank, too many AD. And when you're playing a comp like this, it's like, well, now you have a collector on your headliner. That's it.
Oh no, Cambiz versus Double. What could be the last fight for
really
Cambiz.
lucky here to have both Karthus items and Yorick items.
He has to be hoping for his Karthus to try and duke it out. In the backline, though, Akali is getting that support from the Karthus to maybe nuke down some of these units. If Double is the one that knocks out Canvas, it's going to hurt even more so. And he is on this last life. Phoenix already out. 10 HP on Canvas to maybe hang on. He can ult one more time. Not
one
enough
more ult
to knock
comes
him
out. The Zhonya's could be
helping.
massive.
Come
Should be
on.
enough here.
One more. One
Oh no! But you do survive here.
Oh. 1 life, exactly.
Phoenix out though. Phoenix out in 8th there, unfortunately for him. Cambiz survives on 1 HP, but I mean he's going 7. Let's be honest. He's on a 7 loss streak. The next lowest HP is 30.
Yep. Dude, Michael's in such a he's rolling cack. He's nothing else to do. You're stuck level 8 the whole game.
Exactly. It's I think the classic march of progress. Even last patch, I think Country's been so strong. But really, I think you over-index into, hey, all I can do is roll. I might as well go for more 3-stars.
Well, and I feel like when I've seen this comp played at this tournament, the only time I've actually seen it really be able to win out is when you 3-star everything. 3-star Vex, 3-star set, 3-star Mumu. It feels like you have to go take a high roll.
Vex 3 is the win out with 3's company.
Yeah.
If you hit both of those, you can get first. But generally speaking, this is a 3rd place comp. And as someone who plays it to 3rd place at this tournament, I played in the 5th and 2nd. You don't cap out without the right situation. And he didn't get the right combat augment to cap out.
It's so hard though to actually hit that because it always feels like unless you're really kind of high rolling and 3-starring something quickly, you often don't even have enough bench space to hold all the units.
Yep.
Sad versus Akali. Can the Karthus do enough? The Zhonya will be proccing soon. If one more ult can come through, but the Akali is just too healthy still.
It. Unfortunate for Canvas. Very sad.
Malala now taking another loss as well, down to 25 HP, and
really
Malala's broke on 8.
Double cyber here as well. It's pretty big. On this portal specifically, you get so many more components. We're seeing pretty much every key unit has already been itemized on this board.
Yep, the way cyber works with bulk is really OP. Because usually in this game, you don't have flat scaling with percentage, but this is one of the rare situations where it does happen.
Yeah.
So anytime you can get like kitty with bulk, you're giving more value than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. KDA with bulk, bruisers. Like if you get Lowy 2 with bulk and stuff like that,
yeah,
that
it's
can be
crazy.
the dream, right?
Ooh. These Urgot items are disgusting.
Yeah, it's a big unit you're looking at.
Samira not so much though, missing the IE. Does have the last whisper, I think is the key item for that
Yes.
Samira alongside IE. Runans is also surprisingly okay. I think a lot of players, even 2 weeks into the set, don't really give enough value to Runans on the Samira. But Rageblade, not really considered the best items. I think just a 3-star value might be enough here. The Ahri ramping up with the Archangels though.
Ooh, I think Michael's really sad he doesn't have IE. Like, I think the unit itself has really bad stats without having the exact IE last whisper, and the third item is whatever you want.
Yeah, you want gloves so badly on Samira, right?
Yes.
Because that stacks up your style points, which makes your ulti do so much
It's
damage.
weird in this lobby he wasn't able to get perfect items.
Yeah.
Because that is his best unit. And he has Freaky Friday. So he couldn't get perfect items with that situation is very strange.
It's tough. I mean, that's always, I feel like, the battle in this tournament, because people want to slam items on this set, on this patch. They want to stay healthy, they want to stay aggressive, but at the same time, if you're not hitting those miss items off the bat, it's always that battle of how greedy can you afford to be? Can you hold on to components for a long time, or are you going to get too low?
Yeah. I mean, we talk a lot about how like some metas are fast 9, but like when you're playing Prismatic lobby with 2 parches, no one's 9 yet.
Yeah.
Everyone had to roll the 0-8 this game to live, and people didn't.
And Purple here cannot make that true damage spat with this open spat, does not have the right component for it. He's really thinking what items to slam
Look
here.
at the items on this board. He has 7 units itemized, six units itemized.
And he's got the Kiana too, by the way.
Yes.
So that's massive.
So he actually stabilized with Kiana 2 with great items, almost perfect items.
The Kennen one in the front line saying, I am part of this team and I'm doing my job, but he is not going to hold down anything. The Kiana is making her way towards that backline, trying to find the Ahri there, but she is going to get knocked over.
No item transfer from Kiana whatsoever, so really hit the dummy first and then not really any itemized units. Not ideal there from Malala.
Should be fine.
I think at some point, your Kiana, you don't care about the items and farms. Like, you start playing the Kiana in the very front line and start sniping tank items from other tank units. That's the best way to do it because you want the item value more than anything else. And the pushback is really OP.
Yeah, like, the pushback, when you push back a super tank,
yes,
and then your carries all start hitting the weak units or the other carries.
I'm surprised that's pushback. Kiana's a crazy unit.
Especially against other melee carry teams. I've seen that be so big. It's like if they're playing a Zed or a Viego and you push back the tank and your carries all of a sudden go onto the Zed or Viego early.
There's very specific interactions with edgelords that when you run through units, if your edgelord body blocks the other edgelord running through units, it goes past. So like I was talking to someone who was helping me out with edgelords, and he says the reason why he positions the way he does is to try to get people to jump into the backline.
Oh, that's so interesting.
And Kiana does it even better, like helps that transition as well. So like a lot about playing melee is making sure your front line can move. It's
Turtle,
really weird.
16 HP, but Casey Double 61 might follow his cousin down the line. 7 HP to go, and he is going up against Michael, and Michael had just been cruising through this lobby, had a couple up and downs, but it is looking to be close, this one. The Urgot's still standing, the Samira still standing, trying to make headway. Ahri will stun, the ult will come in, but it's not enough to finish them off just yet. Hanging on, though.
I love the triple carry setup as well. Karthus, Ahri, and the Kali, 3 massive threats that all do pretty different things, but complement each other really well.
We have 3 players on their last life.
I think Michaels is not going to be happy with his placement this game. So he's going to bleed out all the way. You look at his item situation, you look at his augment situation, because he took everything to go econ. He has duplicator augment, he has march augment, he has 0 combat augments playing a reroll board.
Yeah.
That usually means your power's capped.
So with March, it's kind of a tempo game plan, and you're at 42 HP. We're seeing their 4th place at 8 HP. It's almost a guaranteed 4th and 3rd in this case, which is okay for a first game, especially if you don't have an augment that really caps you out to a first.
Yeah, I mean, the toughest part is that, yeah, there's these low HP people that are probably all going to die first, but the person in 3rd that you would want to die to actually get that 3rd is Malala, who has the Kiana too.
Yes.
And he's not dying. Like he's probably going to be the person who wins the lobby.
I would not be surprised to see him get a 4th here.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a 4th for sure.
That's weird. Like, from his position, imagine he got 2 at 3-1 with March and Nia. Dead position because he doesn't have a Vex 3, he didn't itemize his Vex, and his Samir items aren't that good, so he can't carry late game.
Yep. That's the risk you take, and we've seen a lot of people do a lot worse with these kind of 3-cost comps. There's so many people who get stuck on 7, they don't hit, and then you're going a 7th or an 8th, so it always feels like a really risky line, because like the kind of success case is usually like that 3rd or 4th like you're talking about, and the fail case is you're out of the tournament.
Yes.
Dobbs and Double side by side fighting to stay in, but it is going to get close. We have one more player that is super low there, and it might just be that someone is going to get knocked out. Double actually hopping over to see how Dobbs does. Dobbs is going to stay in. Double also hanging on.
Wow.
Question is, Turtle will get knocked out.
And both players survived. Dobbs, the last remaining hope for Brazil as a region in this top 32, the only remaining Brazilian player. There was only 4 total in the tournament, so still huge for Dobbs to make it here.
Ripple just went 9, and that's a Kiana 2. Does he actually sell to pick this up? He has to make the choice.
He has no backline. He has no carry for those items. I think he might switch to Sona when he hits Sona 2, but is he doing it? No, he's not.
No, he's not going to sell it, but he did get to 9. We can see Malala sitting on 50 gold, so Malala's going to try to go 9 as well. Dobbs, Double, and Michael are all just trying to play for placements.
Ripple feels so bad. He rolled 20 gold, level 9, but then a Sona 1.
You say they play for placements, but this is a top 2 cutoff. Just reminding everybody, this is cutthroat. They need to be up there. And even though we do have 4 instead of 3 games today, that's still such a small sample size. And I'm not sure it's going to be enough for some of these players. Double here with the Karthus trying to duke out some more units. But even a 1-unit loss is going to knock him out. Can the Karthus do it? I don't think so. Falling down, the Mordekaiser will follow, and Double will get knocked out here.
And Malala is just like, this Kiana 2 so early. I just have an infinite board. Like, no one can test me. It's crazy.
Free 9.
Yes, no, it's insane. I think this board not having Vex 3 is so bad here. The worst thing is Rage Play is really good at Vex, actually. And so, like, he had to scrap together this board to maintain tempo, but it's falling off really hard right now.
Yeah, even with the Fawn, right?
Yes.
Like, he had a Fawn for free.
Remember, the Fawn doesn't do anything in this comp, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, unless you can go, some people can try to go to like 4 Executioner and stuff like that. If you get like an Executioner headliner for your Samira instead, then it can do something. But otherwise,
he has Mosher headliner. He can't get bailed out with 7 country. Like, he's in a rough spot. But
Ripple is up against Dobbs. Somebody's going to get knocked out here.
The position is really good against Kali. See, all the carriers are in the middle. So the Kali just wasting time. And she goes.
And they already survived the card as well, so much extra DPS coming in.
Look at the Ari go!
This card just comes up right here. Okay, and
Rage Blade Akali, can she skill enough to actually win this? I don't think it's the case. The Karthus looks like he's gonna cast at least one more time. The Akali does survive. One more ult, but not enough. So close.
Man, the triple tank items on the Sona actually made such a difference because he had it set up in a way that the Sona would be the next target. So he took out 2 tentacles, then it went to a Sona that was using double Steelbound Heart and a Warmogs that tanked for the Karthus. I think that actually made the difference.
But it ended up, like, he couldn't have known the items go there. Like, it's so interesting because positioning like that is perfect, right? You had 1 bot right, 1 bot left, and then it goes to top right by putting your tank there. So he positioned perfectly for the Akali.
Well, this is the Kiana farming those items, right?
Michael is bleeding out here.
Yes.
He even used this carousel to just body block whoever was next
But he's top 3. I thought he was going to get 4 in this
I think 3. He's fine with 3. It's okay. And Malala, it must be honestly so happy to be in such a bad position early and come out to be looking like a first place here.
And that's a duplicator diff, to be honest, right? And that's how impactful it can be to actually hit one of those duplicators.
But he knew his outs, and like literally look at that. I was like, okay, well he has Kiana, he knows the out is this, and he played it well.
Yeah, I mean that's what you got to do, right? You got to play the odds, and you got to play with the advantages and disadvantages that you're dealt.
We might be looking at a double knockout. I'm not gonna lie, Malala has been streaking for the last couple of rounds, and he might just knock out both players. Michael on the right-hand side trying to stay in. Left-hand side, you are seeing
this
Ripple
Poppy
against
itemization
Malala.
might be the difference.
It's looking good for Michael right now. Samir gonna die though. It's only down to the Poppy. I don't think she can 1v4, 1v5 here. She does have 1 more cast coming through. It's just her against the Karthus and the tentacles.
The Poppy
hammer time, smurfing on the competition. And the Karthus cannot do enough damage. The tentacles tickling her, and she wins the fight for Michael. Michael hands up in the air
so
celebrating.
Like, yes! He may have secured a second with that, actually.
That's big. That's so big. Well, you're capped with the
he
did.
He's so happy about how this game went then. Wow. Well,
shout out to Ripple, though, playing that Lux carry in stage 3, saving so much HP and gold to make it to this position to get 3rd.
We were just talking about how loss streaks are pretty good, and then Malala ended up taking, I would say, a really risky 2-1 augment. The only different 2-1 augment from everyone else, and it ended first.
And the spat that Malala got didn't even end up being that valuable. It's just like a jazz spat thrown out, and it's like,
it does
who
like
cares?
it's like okay for his board, but like wow.
You're seeing his player lobby position through time. They're at the bottom, showing exactly what you were saying. All of those 8 standings, and then shooting up there with that extra upgrade, finding that duplicator, going through it, getting the upgrades he needed, and now he's up against Michael. And even though Michael had an amazing run here with that second place, it is going to end at that. Malala will claim first place in game number 1, round 2.
And a great start for both Michael and Malala. 3 more games to go, but you want to have that positive momentum going forward. You can save yourself from taking those huge risks in game 2 especially.
I mean, you can just see how stressed out these players are, because I would say the #1 emotion I see at the end of someone getting first is relief.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not a pop-off, it's not excitement, it's, oh, thank God.
It's because when you score high first, you're confident that you can play more lines the next game.
Yep.
If you're 8th, you now have to shoot for first or second every game. So what do you do now? You're forced to play like Fast 9, Risky, Last Stand, Final Reserves, all these augments that you're just like, it's very risky. You have to play super well, and even then you might still
might be out of your control.
At the same time, the players that did place at the lower end of the standings will now need to go for exactly that.
Yes.
Find those risky comps, go for first or 8th play style, and that just might throw the rest of the lobby in tempo.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely really interesting. I know when I played second the first game, when I played, I ended up was like, oh, I can just reroll, and I'm okay with that because I know I'll potentially get like a 3rd, 4th, 5th, and I'll be happy with that.
A ton of augments that are also blocking you off sometimes, where it's an augment that you know it's a top 4 augment. If you need a first, you can't really pick it. You have to take a bigger risk, re-roll certain augments, and then low roll into just unclickable augments at 2-1. So it just puts you in a much more uncomfortable position, especially playing on main stage, top 32, a super stacked lobby here with the players we're seeing.
For my guilty pleasure, I would like all the lobbies to be prismatic. So I think
it was so much fun.
They're so interesting because you're forced to play super high tempo. People make very creative boards, and obviously there's some disgusting high rolling going on. But you're also seeing very unique things come out of prismatic boards because they're all very strange.
Exactly. I just love the variance that comes from a prismatic lobby, right? You know, silver lobbies, gold lobbies, it's more kind of standard. You're kind of just getting some stats from your augments. Prismatics can change the entire way that you play the game.
Yes.
See, I normally say that, and then Panda disagrees with me, but now that you're saying it, he's suddenly very silent. I'll memorize
Listen, I
this
have
one.
competitive players in my hearts. I know that they do not like high variance. They don't want to have those huge low rolls, especially on a stage like this. So it is always difficult to see someone having these unclickable augments.
These bot 4 players need variance now. So when
That's true.
When I was playing, I took the augments that gave me the most variance, or even the boards, the stages. It's like, well, I'm taking Artifact Ample, I'm taking Scuttle Puddle. If I need the first, we go all out. You take these augments that you hate playing, but you have to because the variance is so huge.
I've been competing on the EOS ladder and a kind of Wild Rumble, kind of like Box Bootcamp as well. Whenever I was in these stacked challenger lobbies with all the greatest names in the MEA, I was always going for Scuttle Puddle. I was always going for the high variance. I know my limits. I know my limits.
Looking at those 2 final boards, of course, this was a lobby or a game that was also formed by the loaded carousel. So many items to go around, so a lot that played into these boards coming together.
I think Malala made his board even more interesting because he had the jazz spot. He ended up going super fan instead of 6 crowd diver for more value through there. Because usually end on 6 crowd diver is really easy. But he ended up with that one to make a little bit more value from the spot that he got earlier.
As you mentioned, Scara, the loose streaking early and still finding a way to come back into the game. Really perfectly encapsulated there on that graphic.
You can see the moment when he picked up the Kiana.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can see the Kiana too right there.
Just put the Kiana face right there at the bottom of the line.
And the wonderful belt, of course, for the winner tomorrow. I think one of the most unique trophies I have seen ever in esports.
Oh, I mean, I think belts are cool. I think belts are awesome.
Yeah.
Trophies, outdated. No offense. I don't need a trophy. I want like belts. I want like
rings.
hats.
Outdated as well.
I'm okay with rings, but I like
BTM.
gaudy Showtime things where you can be like, I have this. You're like, oh my god, that's crazy. Like, yeah, that is kind of crazy.
What about? Did you see the Champions Queue helmet?
Helmet?
You got a big old helmet if you got first place in Champions
That is
Queue.
so cool.
I like the belt better, but we do want to say thank you for coming on the desk with us, Scara. It's been wonderful to have you here. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. It's been a blast. We're going to go to a quick break and come back with the next round after that.
Well, thank you so much, guys.
I think the only edge you have is whether you're going to be nervous or not in front of people watching you play. When you're streaming, it's like a fake audience. You're still in your room by yourself, so it's not really the same as like live people watching you. So I don't feel like streamers actually have an edge, but I feel like people who like don't get nervous playing in front of people have an edge. I don't know who that's going to be.
See the reactions in live time. It's really cool. Yeah, it's really interesting being able to see that reaction live and kind of have the interaction, something that you really can't get through the stream. And just being in that in-person space, right, talking to everyone, interacting, it's just something different, right?
I'm looking forward to trash talking people in person instead of online.
I think I have an advantage just because, I mean, I've played in tournaments on LAN for God knows how long with like League of Legends, and I definitely think it gives me an advantage over the other players. I saw them, you know, kind of like buckling under the pressure, and I saw them like tilting a little bit, so.
The keyboard is different, the monitor is different, the chair is different. It's not like the biggest difference because we play TFT, but like it's still a lot of small things add up. I mean, I don't think anyone really played that well. I watched a bunch of games. It's just getting used to like being around like all the noise and like the new setup and everything. It's kind of tough to like be in the zone as soon as you show up. But I think the second half of games, like I high rolled, so. But I also like feel like a lot of the nerves like went down.
When I see somebody like buckling under pressure, like I feel like the best thing you can do is just like keep your cool, because then it just makes them, you know, it's like, what, like this guy's over here just like chilling, you know.
And we are back here at the TFT Vegas Open, and while Scara and Azale are on break and off camera now, we did get 2 new faces added to the desk here. I'm here with Whitrock and Jeff. You guys are both developers on the game. You made this, which thank you from all of us. We love you for that. If you wouldn't mind giving us a quick introduction, what do you actually do?
Sure, I'm Jeff Virtue. I'm the executive producer for TFT, and I've been with the team for almost 3 years now, helping to set vision and figure out the features that we're building.
And I'm Whitrock. I was the design lead of Remix Rumble.
And to both of you, how does it feel to see something like this unfold? Obviously, day 1 was special. Day 2 now, you're seeing it get closer and closer to the end, but also just the emotions getting higher and higher. What is the general feeling for you?
I think it's been surreal. I think we've been talking about this event for close to 18 months now, and really starting to see that come to life. And seeing all of you as players here and all of you online at home, it's just been absolutely a dream come true for us on the dev team.
Yeah, the live tournament vibe is awesome. The main stage is super fun to watch, but kind of all of these setups all over the room, hearing different people cheering for kind of things happening in different lobbies. It's been awesome.
I think the Easter eggs too, like there's Easter eggs all over the live setup, and you know that's just been so cool for players to discover.
Yeah, I agree. I personally have just been enjoying kind of like mingling in the crowds and seeing when they cheer for the players that they came to watch, or even their friends that they had been talking to for like years and years. And I do imagine it must feel crazy to kind of be part of a product that brings people together like this.
Absolutely. You know, I think some of the cool stories that I've seen so far here have been people traveling from all over the world. I've met people from Chile. I've met people from the Czech Republic. We had a group that we talked earlier today from New York. Shout out to those guys. And it's been really awesome just to see the fandom and how much excitement we have for TFT here, but also online.
Yeah, it was tough seeing the game, working on it before the pandemic, and kind of just as the kind of esports and tournament scene was starting to kick off, then everything was on lockdown, tournaments were getting canceled.
Yeah.
So it's been great to have this event.
Well, we are quickly going to take a look at what had been happening at Lobby 2, and we'll see how that went for them in the previous game. It says Lobby 5. But it's Lobby 2, I'm being told. We got it all in order. This is the Lobby of Experian. Another French player, Zaza's in there. Very familiar names to EMEA fans, but also Fancy is in there. Can't Without You from SEA. And of course, North American players are in there as well. Broccoli.
Broccoli from NA, who I believe has a very impressive record from both days. Really watching out for his potential run here.
And unique playstyle as well. Scar was saying, he talked to Broccoli, and Broccoli was saying that he's rolling on 3-2 every game, which not many players are doing. We see so many times 0 gold spent on rolls going to stage 4. So interesting to see the clash of playstyles and still them all finding success.
Yeah, we talked a lot yesterday, I know, about kind of the change of pace of lobbies and the shift on the patch from more focus on level 9 versus level 8, but it doesn't really surprise me to see the natural evolution of more and more aggression is trying to go level earlier, and like you're saying, potentially even roll down at super early levels just to keep a streak or get units earlier than other players.
And something we are seeing in this highlight here as well is that Broccoli, who was on that strong losing streak early on, climbing up the rank, very similar to what we saw in the main stage lobby just now. Those early loss streaks paying off, rises to the top. Only Zaza and him left up there, and that is going to be it. Broccoli claims this one for North America.
And Zaza second, he was on main stage at the very end of day 1, looked a tiny bit shaky with those fast 9, fast 10 game plans. I was watching over his shoulder today in that round 3. He looked so much more confident, so much stronger in the ways he was playing. He eliminated Milk in the process in that very, very tough lobby over there with the SCA player leading the pack.
And there's a challenge in tournaments, you know, as you start to hear about different ways to play, you're a little bit tempted to maybe change your strategy too far outside your comfort zone. So people sticking with what they know can potentially give them an advantage.
EMEA popping off in this lobby as well. Noel, Lides, and Kevin Parker all in the top 4 with AK Wonder finishing 6th in the end. So I don't want to jinx these players just yet.
This lobby is mean! There's so many EMEA players, only 2 can make it. What are you saying?
That's really tough. There was 8 players total advancing to the top 32 with 4 different lobbies. So a little bit unfortunate for the EMEA side there.
We also put both of the SEA players in the same lobby. It's all seeding, so nothing that we could have influenced here. But Broccoli and Zaza, as we just saw, claiming this one.
And overall, I think it goes to show, we're looking at the last round, and you looked at lobbies, and they were all so stacked. But in this case now, for round 4, we're finally seeing all the lobbies, how they're comprised. 32 players left. Every single player in these lobbies is either a revelation underdog or an absolute favorite from all the way back in set 3, 4, and 5, and 6.
I think it's been so exciting to see all of our players climb to this point, and the competition's been so stiff. So I can't wait to see how this all nets out moving into day 3.
Yeah, and it's hard to be, you know, at this point at the tournament purely on like a good run. You know, these cuts have been so aggressive every lobby, and you know, you got to be in the top 2 of your lobby here to make it to the final day. So you gotta be getting not just those top 4s, but those top 1 and 2s.
I kind of wonder, you know, I meet a lot of devs and like my work, of course, and over the time as a gamer. Not many of them follow esports as closely. How is that for you guys working on TFT?
I think it's absolutely core to the experience. And so when we were creating TFT, we knew that there was a format that was going to work for this. And it was probably going to be different than how we ran Valley Sports or how we ran, you know, League Esports. And I can't tell you how excited we are to be doing in-person LAN events like this alongside our World Championships.
Even the way it's being done, I remember rumors all the way back in the early stages of TFT of comparing it to poker, of having a table set up like this with players being able to see each other, and finally seeing all these kind of rumors and the imagination coming to life in this way, and I think being a huge success for players and viewers alike is so exciting.
Absolutely. I think that poker analog has been really exciting for us on the team.
Maybe item payout, double 61, the vote winner here. Talking about double 61, quick trivia, quick fact for our viewers at home. He's the only player to get a 3-star 5 cost in this tournament. He got it in that last round over at his station. It was a Lowy as well. Not sure how that happened, considering it's one of the most contested 5 costs in the game right now.
Sometimes you just gotta hit. Just gotta find those 3-star legendaries, apparently. But that's the skill diff between us and pros, I guess.
Yeah, and with the item payout portal here, we have one of the kind of lower impact portals on the lobby. So nothing too crazy. It does definitely accelerate some of that early econ, but I would be surprised if there was a 3-star 5 cost in this lobby. Maybe we'll get a triple prismatic game. Always hoping for that, but we'll see.
A quick reminder for viewers maybe just tuning in for this game 2. Malala was the winner in that game 1 with Mikey coming in behind. Those are players that can maybe afford to play more for a top 4 playstyle. They have a big base of points already coming to the game 2, whereas other players like Phoenix have to make big risks coming to game 2, start climbing up in the standings if they want to try and contest those top 2 spots after the 4 games.
I think that's been so exciting in this kind of final format here where we see everybody going big or going home, and those top 2 spots have really driven a lot of different play that we weren't seeing earlier in the tournament.
Well, and it changes so much just after the first game, too. As soon as you know that you, let's say, secured a first, then you know that you don't need as many of those high-placing wins to potentially make it out. If you got 8th in that first game, you're going to be playing much differently because you're not out of it yet, but you're going to have to get those firsts, basically.
Yeah, and that can actually then, again, tumble the other players, right? Because if there is one guy that's just playing for tempo, going strong, it's not going to happen as much with silver augments. But if you have those players that are really forcing your hand, suddenly you're in a position where you could get knocked out. So they need to be on their toes, and silver will be this augment, like I was just saying. Recon Bob, not an option for this very early stage, but we are going to see some nice little upgrades.
So yeah. With Rock, you have to increase your def powers. If Mort was on that chair there, and he mentioned prismatic augments, this was 100% be prismatic augments at 2-1.
We get a double def cast, and you guys didn't press buttons? Come on.
I tried to seed it there with the triple prismatic, but looks like we're starting with silver. Usually a pretty simple choice between a little bit of early tempo or a little bit of long-term play, and occasionally you can kind of narrow down your strategy, set some direction early. I think a lot of these players might be a little more scared of setting too much direction, want to keep themselves open, but we'll see.
Speaking of staying open, we just saw it there on the opposite side. Canvas actually on a Pandora, which I feel like is not that popular as an option for players, but he is one of the players here that have to play aggressive. He got a 7th in the previous round, so what could be the angle here?
It helps you slam items, especially now, and I think the silver Pandoras is the more clickable one. The rest, really, I would not click them personally, but in some cases when you have really dead item components and you need to slam items in stage 2, that might be the best option you have. We saw already 2 Kennen headliners in stage 2, one of the strongest headliners last patch. I think still this patch as well, with how resilient he is and how he also has that stun effect as well that is really big in stage 2.
Seen a lot of those Kennens come down to a 1v1 or a 1v2 and be able to clean up fights. Also, a good reason to slam the Pandoras here is just some basic portal synergy. You know, it wants to get that early gold, keep the tempo going.
Jeff, what's your opinion on Heartsteel overall? Is it a good iteration of econ traits?
Yeah, I think we've learned a lot with Heartsteel when we reflect on any of the econ traits that we've done before, and there's a lot of that kind of design learning that's manifesting in this. In particular, having it be something that you can tech into mid and late game and not just necessarily tech into at the beginning of the game. And we think that it's working. So as we look forward to future trades, this is definitely something that we're pretty happy with.
Yeah, I think players are really liking this one, and it's also being valued pretty highly just looking at all the games we've seen across the TFT Vegas Open thus far. I personally like that you can flex it in, even if like that's not necessarily where you're going, even if you're not really aiming for the big Heartsteel, you can still get a little bit of upgrades out of it.
It adds great nuance to the game. I think it's one of the biggest things with set 10. Everything is so nuanced. There's so much layers of complexity that make this one of the most exciting sets of all time, and also the hardest, in my opinion, as someone who's grinded 200 games on ladder. It has not been easy. There's so much to solve and figure out.
It's definitely a set that, you know, encourages flex versus force, and I think that that's really manifesting in this tournament here.
And difficulty is always relative as well. You know, the whole player base is playing the same set, playing the same game, so...
Early Heartsteel, Aphelios here, the headliner comes in, he was considering it Dobbs for a while. He's lacking frontline now is the only issue, but overall, Rapid Fire Aphelios, the dad and the son, both on the board here.
Yeah, there are 3 different players that have some version of a Heartsteel open. I guess he's still sitting on 2 out of 3, so looking to still hit that missing Heartsteel unit to kind of get those cash outs rolling.
Could potentially find it in the next carousel, but there will be one more round to go through. Now, of course, I kind of want to know what's your favorite augments as devs, you know, who have like the power to oversee them all. Anyone that you guys really like?
I think for me, it's Recombobulator. I think that the challenge that I have with Recombobulator is watching everybody at the tournament and how quick they can flip a board. And it takes me like 2 or 3 rounds to get there. So that's been really impressive, but that's such a fun augment for me.
Heartthrobs, I get baited by every time. I take that augment even when I'm not able to immediately put in Heartsteel. Oh, close fight there.
60 stacks on the Rage Blade. That is just stage 2 for you. Not that much DPS, so the Rage Blade stacking does come clutch in some cases.
Got our first carousel. Let's see what people are prioritizing.
Some big 3 costs. A Mumu, one of the premier tanks in stages 2 and 3. A set there as well that could maybe help reach that hard steal. We saw that was that combination of Cassante and Aphelios. Not able to be picked up there, but Milana does get it.
Yeah, hesitated there for a second as well. It was one of those last second, almost didn't go for it, but picked it up.
And with this portal in particular, I think that much more important to try and find a component that you can slam the item right away after the stage 2 carousel. So that much more important to maybe lose some HP, lose streak, and then have that priority on that carousel.
Phoenix up there is on 100 HP, just like Dobbs. We saw him stand there in the middle of the carousel for a little while, thinking which of these options I would argue are less bad. As you are last pick, you often find yourself in that position. Goes for the tier eventually, which I find kind of interesting.
Phoenix defending a 3-win streak. Doesn't have many upgrades on the backline. It's really just the cannon running the entire show here. Forced to slam some items to try and continue making econ.
Yeah, KC double 61 with a pretty different strategy than the rest of the lobby. Only person level 4 and has a 20 gold advantage on even the next most rich player.
And that is something that, you know, coming from EMEA, having watched double 61 for a long time, he's very comfortable with that. He likes playing risky, so I was actually surprised to see him not do that in the first game, but I guess it's kind of like you just play and you see what you get, and then you adapt to that. But he is a player that we often see aggressively lose streaking, playing to very little health, and then within seconds, suddenly putting a board together that is just crazy. One more close finisher here, but Phoenix is going to lose that win streak, and only Dobbs will remain on top.
And the value of Urgot in stage 2, I think pound for pound, the strongest 3-cost and strongest unit that you can really, get in stage 2 for the most part, outside of the early 4-cost on level 5. But overall, hard steal online for so many players. Silver Spoon as well, I think for 2 players total. Curious to see what double 61 does, as you were mentioning with Rock. We saw from Malala last game. He liked to get that loose streaking strategy. He was 8th most of that stage 2 and 3, and then came back into first place. And Dobbs is level 6 on 2
He's
sticks.
going.
Yeah, only person still streaking here going into the last round of stage 2. So seeing if he can hold on to it through Krugs, get that double double streak payout.
Had Phoenix in his lobby pool, of course, and even though Phoenix did just lose his win streak, it's still, of course, a threat. So going for that level 6 slamming, whatever he can, trying to be as strong as possible, is most likely going to pay off here as the cannon falls. So will the rest of the team in the backline there, and Dobbs solidifying his win streak.
And both players on Silver Spoon, I think pretty clear that this is a very good augmented tempo in stage 2.
Well, that Gragas healing really held together that fight. Seeing an early Annie headliner there. Still seeming like occasionally a viable opener. Not as many Annies in the late game, but
no headliner for double, considering maybe picking up this Gnar here. What's your favorite headliner, Jeff, in the set for now? Is there anyone that really stands out?
You know, this is a terrible answer, but I really enjoyed Jin.
Okay.
I've had a lot of fun with Jin as a headliner.
Is it the music or is it the unit himself?
It's honestly, it's both. It's
Honest
the music
answer.
and it's also, you know, how he plays. But I've had a couple fun games with Bard as well, especially early in Remix Rumble.
I get it. I like the music of Jin as well. When I first played PvE, I was like, oh, it's Jin. It's just Jin. I'll play Jin every game just to listen to this, but it's not gonna be that way now that the set is actually live. Double taking a little bit longer to defeat the Krugs here. We have seen other outcomes for him specifically before. And thankfully, not in this tournament yet, but he is racking up that gold there. You can see it on the right-hand side. Is on 57, finds the Senna. Going to help him to stabilize, and did pick up that Gnar.
And this is a big spike here, both the Gnar and the Senna when it comes to 2-cost, some of the most relevant units in this stage 3. When itemized, when equipped with the right items especially, they can do so much. Senna, I think, is an easy one. We've seen it all tournament long, but Gnar especially, with some extra healing, can be an absolute beast, a real menace in stage 3.
And a super fan headliner Gnar as well, so getting that, providing himself with his own super fan item makes that transition a lot easier, especially in this exact situation where otherwise there weren't particularly good items to slam on that Gnar.
Well, sometimes, you know, you gotta be your own biggest super fan.
Exactly.
Gnar knows that. On the back of that, Double is going to end the loss streak here, find the win. Dubs, however, continues to streak up there. Wait,
Oh,
did
nope.
he lose? Oh no, I
Looks like a loss.
jinxed him.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry, everyone. Golden Augment's coming through a little bit of
Wait,
tempo
Rock, I'm
uptick.
seeing a Heartthrobs over there on the left. Is that something that you would be picking here?
Almost certainly, yes.
Well, it's just been rerolled, so
Oh,
unfortunate
no.
news for you. Overall, it was like pretty
That's
generic
another-
augments. There's a last stand on the bottom left there, but it did get rerolled and you can push this forward. So nothing too crazy just yet. I think gold overall is kind of the, well, golden standard for augment, just the base level of power. Is there anything, Jeff, that you really love as a gold augment?
You know, I think what's been really cool this tournament is watching players tech into a little bit more of like the trait line with augments and seeing them pick more in that direction in some of those spaces. So I think that's definitely something to watch in this game moving forward.
It's been interesting to see also all the way, gold especially has a lot of different target dummy augments, and especially at a really high level of competition like this with a lot of very micro turn-by-turn positioning, those dummies can make a really big difference, even if it's not super clear that they're the thing that ended up swinging the fight one way or another.
And similar to Ilawi's tentacles, those dummies are so good against some of the comps to like avoid an Akali, to try and bait a Karthus somewhere else. It's really helpful sometimes.
And I think that baiting's been so important, especially as we get to the late game, watching those different tentacle placements and those target dummy placements.
And Ripple has 5 Heartsteel online. We talk about it, the huge difference in just the stacks you're able to pick up with 5 Heartsteel compared to 3. There is that fine line you have to navigate in terms of losing a lot of HP, trying to stay strong. If you get an Ezreal 2 somewhere in stage 4, that can stabilize you. We saw a player, Michael, who's in this lobby, popularize the idea of playing that Heartsteel alongside Disco in stage 4 and staying stable that way. So we'll see what exactly Ripple's able to do.
But some aggressive stuff at the top here. The Country 5, one of the strongest spikes in like late stage 2, early stage 3. Oh, it's actually Country 3, but Crowd Diver 4 with that that Katarina. Not the best Katarina items so far, but still a scary comp to run into in this point in the game.
Talking about Michael and talking about Disco. He's playing Disco right now. No TF, no Blitzcrank to Jet's kind of the poor version that is only available in stage 3 here, but Annie, a great replacement to that TF, is able to scale into the late game with her ability. When you start casting the double fireballs, she is an absolute menace. But in this case, the front line melting a little bit too soon. The stun from Crowd Diver and the daggers from Katarina cleaning up at Annie, but she just barely survived. She can't quite do it though.
Yeah, Crowd Diver just buying so much time in those fights, really preventing that Annie from fully ramping up and then finishing off the fight before Katarina starts getting those daggers bounced into the back line.
Ezreal on the carousel, TF as well for Michael,
yeah.
so we'll see.
Poppy,
and a
also
Poppy.
a great pickup. I mean, a lot of options for players here, and I feel like this lobby is actually pretty close, even though the overall standings in terms of HP, there's a little bit of difference, of course, but every round I see like the top players moving through, the bottom players moving through. There's no clear-cut person that's putting down the pressure on everyone else, which is really interesting.
Good to see all these different item slams on the side as well. Again, that portal encouraging that. So a lot of players already not fully locked into direction. A lot of these items have a lot of flexibility. The Shojins, the various tank items over a specific damage item. But, you know, not a lot of players, I think, are completely open at this point, starting to be locked in a little bit.
We very briefly there saw the gold spent behavior, and I feel like that's something with set 10 specifically, that players are not rolling as much anymore. They're just sitting it out. They're waiting for even like the levels to come naturally. Sometimes we saw it for 2 players in the previous lobby. They neither leveled nor rolled until level 8 came naturally, which to me is crazy, looking at how previous sets worked. What was the approach here? Is that something you guys intended?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been talking a lot about economy with Remix Rumble and like the way that we wanted to approach that and the strategic thinking that goes into it. And then in addition to that, also, you know, you've heard devs throughout the entire weekend talk about bag size and some of the bag size reductions that we've made. But really the goal here being to kind of push the way that TFT is played and make us think a little bit differently about the approach to economy.
And Dobbs here in a great spot, 40 gold, level 7, scaling Augment there with a Martyr as well. And
oh, big pickup for double.
Diana
Did you
so
see his
early
face?
on here. I mean, I think he knows the impact of a Kiana coming in.
Yeah, but it's still good to see. I love that. The reaction cams.
The Ari as well is really big, and he's level 70, 50 gold. So we talk about the loose streaking strategy in stage 2. I think really paying off in this case.
And we'll see if he considers some kind of item transfer here. If you get a Kiana this early, I think you really want her to start getting those kills, getting those items. Yep, there we go. But the items weren't ideal, right? He had to really think about that. If he had some great, you know, Bloodthirster, a couple offensive AD items, I think that would have been an easy choice. But, you know, you have a full tank item in the Hullbreaker, basically. But it's still worth it, it seems like.
I think we're really starting to see this lobby separate.
First item. She's printing. But you're right. Yeah, I think so too, especially with this pickup. Double is going to farm a lot of wins on the back of that.
And the Gnar gets his items back anyway. The Kiana, you know, sending it back over to the Gnar there, and just a great, very odd composition. Kiana, Gnar, and Ari as the biggest threats for Double, but that really, I think, highlights Double as a player. Has been considered all the way back in set 3 and still to this point one of the most creative and flexible players. And I think someone that is going to really get his groove going in set 10.
And I think that this goes back to what we were talking about earlier about flex and how our players at this tournament are able to flex so well, and we're seeing that come into play in this lobby.
I assume this Twisted Fate was the Twisted Fate that got picked up off of the carousel, and
it was, yes.
This is an example of a bit more locked-in direction. You know, you've already got that Jeweled Gauntlet, Goldmancers from earlier in the game. So we'll see if he sticks with this TF the whole time. Doesn't actually have Disco in. I guess this is just a Heartsteel board at the end of the day with a powerful AP carry, so still a lot of directions to go from here.
And so much gold to work with here for Turtle Duckling, and it goes to show item payout plus buried treasures. It's just really the best combination with Silver Augment, especially. You can really accelerate your econ and stay pretty healthy overall. So we're going to see what he can do. He has on 50 health now, so he has to really find a way to stabilize fully in stage 4. Hopefully going to 8 and rolling down for a 4-cost headliner.
Now watching closely here for how many players go to level 8 on 4-1. Looks like only 3 in the lobby. Those bottom 2 trying to, you know, make sure they're preserving enough health, keeping tempo, and then 1 at the top to kind of preserve that aggressive advantage.
You also kind of want to make sure your econ is not in the gutter when you actually reach level 8, so that could be a consideration for the players that are currently still on 7, but I think they're also in a more secure space. Phoenix going up against Turtle Duckling here. We did see Turtle just go level 8, but so did Phoenix, and that is going to be a big run over.
Yeah, that headliner Misfortune, such a menace on the last patch, definitely toned down here, but still very, very viable, especially in kind of the mid to late game. Maybe not super late game. You obviously.
Oh, you did
There's the prismatic. All right, we got there. And immediately rerolls away from the Cursed Crown.
Goes for both. Again, it makes sense on you know, this kind of setup where you want to have some more stability on your board in this case. But look at the other options. Anything crazy here. Lucky Gloves can be huge, but again, you're slamming so many items in the game that you don't have that many gloves open in the most part.
Yeah, you could go for a really long hedge fund play if you have a lot of health to save up here. Let's see.
Lucky Gloves. We do have a little bit of blinding speed.
Look at this spot from Turtle Duckling. Level 8, 56 gold. About to get a cash out here as well. He is 39 HP. It is scary. You are in a game 2 of a main broadcast round 4 lobby, but still, this could be a spot where you catapult into that first or second place.
I think you mentioned it earlier, but we're really starting to see Turtle potentially stabilize and then turn this around.
Oh, and here's one to potentially watch out for. The, you know, other stacking headliner other than Bard in the set is Mordekaiser, but being a 3-cost, it's very difficult to get him early enough to really play out the full stacking game. But when you do, it can be one of the strongest things you can do in a lobby.
And all in all, Micah, I think, not very happy with this spot. He rolled down to 0, didn't hit that Blitz headline, which I think is what he was looking for. Didn't hit the TF2 either, so a bit of a low roll on this level 8 here. Hopefully finds a few good natural stops, or maybe even the carousel to save him with a TF2. That would be the big one.
Yeah, I think the TF2, like you're saying, has to be the target here just to find the extra damage. You can see how much he can do even on level 1. And that is already impressive for it being Twisted
There's
Fate.
a Blitz, natural shop.
Usually, he just like spray and praise and nothing goes down and you get run over. But this time around, he was doing the work, hopping over to Turtle, though, who found a tome.
And Turtle, too much pressure. Lost even more HP in this last fight. Now forced to roll on 8, can't go fast 9. And really has to find a way to stabilize and try and, again, go 9 and then find those 5 costs onto his board.
Yeah, this might be a pretty big shift here because it looks like he found Volution first. already had a tome, may have chosen to take the Jazz Misfortune to increase the odds that he could get a Jazz emblem, since Jazz 4 is one of the most powerful things that you can do on those kind of wide trait web late game boards. So I'm very excited to see what he gets once he pops this tome.
The Ezreal ult barely does not kill his TF. If this is another loss, it looks like it will be. Turtle's in big trouble. Could be down to what could be 1 life in stage 4 still.
Yeah, you gotta pop that tome, I think, basically right here and see what you get. Again, I think he's hoping for Jazz, but maybe a few options. Obviously, let's see how the carousel plays out.
TF on the carousel. Alawi as well is a big lifesaver. Out of the 5 cost, Jeff, is there anything that really, you mentioned Jin before, but let's go into the second favorite in this case. Is there anything that really stands out for you?
I think Alawi's been such a blast to play with, and I think it's been really cool to see how contested Alawi's been in lobbies. And I think, again, testament to the tournament with somebody 3-starring that. But yeah, it's the positioning of the tentacles being so important there.
And Scara was mentioning the vibe killer. I think that's also an accurate nickname for Alawi, unfortunately.
Well, she do be doing that, but the big pickup for Michael here on that TF coming through. There's not a whole lot left in the pool. Several players are looking at it, trying to get it. And for Michael, we were just talking about it, how important this upgrade was. Of course, the Blitzcrank headliner would have been nice too, but we take those.
Sport has changed a lot. Alawi has come online, the Blitz has come online, the Sona has come online with the Rage Blade especially, and the Shiv red buffs TF. So Turtle could be not his last life, but if he keeps this downward momentum up, he might be in big trouble in this game too.
And he already wasn't in the greatest position from the previous game. You see it here on the right-hand side, the point score, 3 points were made in the previous game, and he just meets those high finishes. I don't think we're going for that here.
Yeah, in that tricky position where at this point in the game he wants a really powerful frontliner to slam those 3. Oh, barely lives there. Wants to slam those 3 big tank items on one of the big 4 or 5 cost tanks, but a 2-star, and he's sitting on a 1-star Alawi, a 1-star Yorick, and a pair of Blitzcrank sitting on his bench. A rough spot to be in.
I think we need to see Turtle doing something with that bench right now and really trying to stabilize. Otherwise, that might be it.
Here's the roll down. He's open on headliner as well, seeing what he can get.
Finds the headliner twisted. I don't think he can be a chooser here, so he is going to buy that one out. Despite would have preferred to have had a tank there, but is at least going to get the upgrade on the Twisted Fate, can slam the items again. Big question is that going to be enough? Michael coming around with a very similar combat set, Spider-Man meme all over again, both of them pointing at each other, saying like, hey!
The disco dance-off coming in here. Turtle fighting for his life. Michael in a bit of a more comfortable spot, but still 7th place when it comes to the HP standings overall. The battle of the TF coming through, and overall it looks like the red buff is doing a lot, and when it is a much more stalled out fight, the burst from JG not really helping here, and Turtle unfortunately being taken down. I think early in stage 4 he had the decision to roll much more heavily on 8. He was maybe a bit greedy and faltered and was in between both decisions, and that really did punish him in a lobby like this one, where any small mistake, any small amount of confusion or doubt in your play could spell absolute disaster.
And the rest of the players are really far away as well. Michael, Canvas, both above 30 HP, so really Turtle off of the field. But if Michael can't save himself here in that position, it might open the field for the rest of the players. He did go second in that previous round, so that would change it.
Immediately uses it.
Insta-popped.
Maybe not the best choices though, based on this board. Big Shot, an obvious choice here, pairing with this Ezreal and Misfortune.
Maybe pairing with Jin in the future stage 5.
Maybe.
I think he went for Guardian. We're seeing it on the main stage.
Guardian is going to be the option pick up there for Dog, but overall, item payout. Look at the spots here. Level 8, 100 gold on the right there. We're seeing so many players going fast 9 at this point in time. We see how the econ has been so accelerated. Entering stage 5, almost everyone that is still alive and kicking and trying to fight for those top spots is going 9 at this point in time.
And we're watching Ripple spend that down right now as he continues to win streak.
Double also going broke here a little bit. You can see the gold spent behavior in the bottom left. That's a lot of rolling being done on level 8 here to try and stabilize. Works out in his favor, is going to win this one out easily. Dobbs, however, is going to go up against Candace, Malala. There's so many players on this board here.
We also see
Malala,
Phoenix
yeah.
running Pentakill, a genre near and dear to my heart.
There we see it, level 9 on 5-2. We saw it a lot, of course, last patch, a little bit less so on this one, where leveling to 8 and rolling heavily for things like the Ahri, like the Zed, like the Akali and Karthus is, I think, a bit more rewarded, a lot of more balance among the floor costs. But in this lobby, we're throwing it back to that last patch. We're seeing a Lowy headliner coming online, an absolute beast of a unit.
Oh, and this is a good spot. Getting that Guardian emblem and then finding the headliner Yorick. I'm not sure if it's a Guardian Yorick. Probably going for 4 or 6 Guardian there.
Gonna be seeing what it is in just a little bit, but first we watch this side by side here between Ripple and Doc.
Chewed up by that Ahri immediately though, about the worst case positioning for this matchup.
But Kiana is doing a lot of work on the left-hand side there as well. Fully itemized from Dobble.
Taken down so low now at this point in time. We are in stage 5, so that could be just one life. It's a big enough loss here. We're going to look at the HP stand. We're going to see who's in big trouble. Phoenix once again in trouble in this game 2. Didn't have the best result in game 1. If he has yet another bad result, but another bot 4 here, that could be it. This is such a crazy cutoff in terms of the sample size with only 4 games and having to get into that top 2.
Looks like Ripple has you know, got a good amount of items here. I'm not sure. I guess this is a multiple Thieves Gloves board, which is making it seem kind of more item spread than it might look at first glance.
Gloves
Yes.
coming in clutch here on multiple units, helping out. Phoenix on the other side also has that Lucky Gloves going up against Malala, and Phoenix, as well as Dobbs, could be losing out soon. Phoenix only has 14 HP to hold him over there. And that Caitlyn in the backline, she just snipes away. Cupcake going strong.
Gotta get one more Karthus cast. Oh.
There's no mana gen, that's the problem. No Shojin, no Adaptive Helm onto that Karthus, which means that he only cast once, and that was not enough to take down the Caitlyn in just one shot.
Dobbs is out. 0 HP, it's so close here. And Phoenix holding on with that very last glimpse of an HP. Gets first pick, is thinking about what he wants, bodyguards it from Candace saying, if you wanted this, I wanted this.
Pentakill emblem could be big, especially with the Yorks that we've seen running around, but not going to be a viable enough option for any of our players here.
And a Jazz emblem just gets left on the carousel. I feel like I don't see that very often.
It's a new patch. Nobody likes Jazz anymore.
That's true. That's true.
Jazz, the unit composition, not the genre. I think we all still love Jazz. The genre.
Jazz. Phoenix, not much gold with to make any big moves here.
And this board especially, when everyone else is capping out so high, you kind of know that your board is limited. You're not really going down in HP and then spiking and coming back into the lobby as we saw Malala doing in that first game. This might be just the end of the road. Positioning could matter a lot, of course, but you're up against Michael, who has been very stable ever since those few upgrades came in. Now double Rage Blade Sona really helping the TF out, especially. Ziggs is online as well. Can the Kiana do enough here? That's the big question.
And positioning is key against these Twisted Fate boards. You know, Twisted Fate really just needs to get one card off and snuck into the backline onto that Karthus, for example, and this cast damage is going to be reduced a lot.
Yeah, the first cards did go out and killed a couple of units, but then Nico is under pressure, and so is that Karthus is going to get knocked out, cannot deliver enough power to knock out the enemy Twisted. Will be another player knocked out here, and we're looking at KC double 61, 12 wins. Ever since finding that Kiana, he's just been cruising.
The clash of playstyles especially. He's still level 8, he has not gone 9, but he's using all that gold to stay as strong as possible in the scarier moments of the game, that stage 4 and 5 where players are really spiking. And he's gonna now slowly go to 9 and hopefully cap out higher than anyone else.
Yeah, really just decided he could sit on 8 there, maintain that win streak, has been building up economy. Still not economically that far ahead of the lobby relative to being lower level, but obviously that health buffer feels great at this point in the game.
Ripple here, fighting for his life, so is Candace. Both of these players are on losing streak angles. Can they stop the bleeding? Has to be the question. Twisted Fate in the backline is going to get another ult out, but it is going to be enough. Michael knocking out another player. Candace able to hang on.
Some big upgrades for double as well, and Michael getting a lot of cheers from the crowd. I think it goes to show that energy that comes from that fan comes from Argentina as well in sports, but now in esports as well. Michael really getting into his groove all the way back into that set 8, finally able to break that mental barrier as a competitor, make it to Worlds back-to-back, do well, and now smurfing on the competition here.
I mean, Scara was just up here saying he met Michael, he never introduced himself, but he said, oh, I've been to Worlds twice, I'm not nervous. This guy is just having a blast of the time, it seems like.
We talked about it earlier in the tournament, but nerves are so important at this stage. Really knowing what your game plan is and how do you stick to that.
And this situation, a bit different than ladder as well. One of those places where often you may be breathing a sigh of relief that you reach the top 4, but since you need such higher placements, looking at the top 2 still being win streakers, being 30+ health, and then the 3rd and 4th place being on 1 life, you're just dreading the matchup and hoping that you get to kind of eliminate the other person to get that 3rd. Maybe you can still get the top 2, but it's looking scary.
It's safe to say that for Michael and Malala, this is already a really, really good game. First game, first and second, now solidified in the top 4 wherever they may end up. It's going to be good for them. At the same time, Double and Candace finding their way from the lower end of the standing. Is it going to be enough though? It is. There's a big ult coming in from that Panda Annie. That will be a knockout.
Malala not happy there, but Cam is a TF coming in clutch with those last few cards, able to kill off the entirety of that board there. And Disco really popping off in this game too. Both Michael and Cam is finding a way to squeeze themselves into that top 3 and accumulate some extra points in this game too.
All right, I was wondering, what are the cousins up to? What did they do in that break? And I just remembered, I saw them standing on the side here, just eating a pizza.
That's
just
it.
Like,
the pizza buff.
you gotta freshen up, get your nutrition, get a little bit of a snack. It seems to work.
Need that energy for your brain.
And KC Double almost finishing, kind of running away with this lobby, playing this KDA board, almost having filled out every single KDA hex with the benefit of new recruit there.
Is going up against his cousin though, and we might see a repeat of game 1 between these guys. He might just be the first that knocks out Candace again. The board is overrunning Candace's, and he will take a loss here.
And props to Michael and Malala both finishing in the top 4 once again in this game. Malala was the winner, and the last one of Michael was 2nd place. Could be 2nd once again, back-to-back. Very consistent. But shout out to the Canvas cousins, or the KC cousins, because both Canvas and Double finished bot 4, needed to come back into it to have a way to really a realistic dream of making it among those game 3 and 4, depending on the results. So huge clutch from both of the French players.
And he did just stick with that headliner Mordekaiser, it looks like, all through the mid and into the late game, but never hit that 3-star. So probably still fairly powerful, lots of stacks, but not nearly as capped as this board is capable of getting to.
Micah standing up, stretching, trying to get some blood flowing. It could be the last few fights. Could be the last fight, really. We're in stage 6 already. TF and Sona the dual carry with that Zig, trying to help out as well with that extra MR shred. Double 61.
Double's already done.
He's ready to go to the bathroom or for more pizza because he knows he's winning this lobby, he's winning this fight. Micah taken down, but still a great final fight, a great 1v1 between 2 fantastic players.
Yeah, shout out to Double for running this one back, set it during the game, but getting that reclamation during that second game has to feel great.
It definitely has to feel great for them.
Overall, the comp you saw at the end there, any excitement with Disco for you, Jeff? I know you mentioned Jin, but are you a fan of Disco as a way to stabilize in stage 4 especially?
I am. It's interesting to watch the evolution of Disco as a trait and where it was originally in development to where it is today, and how many people have embraced Disco here at the tournament. And it's been really exciting for, like you said, a great way to stabilize.
Also another board making use of that Sona. We've seen plenty of Sona in this tournament. Attack speed clearly being the clear favorite among these high-level players, but good on a lot of boards, often seeing it on those Spellweaver boards, but even just a splash into that Disco board, Twisted Fate especially benefiting from attack speed, being very powerful there.
And Michael, 2 seconds in a row has to be a story as well. The others are getting a little bit of a break. He's sitting there writing down notes on what just happened. I love it. I'm here for it.
It's so high stakes, you have to. You absolutely have to.
We're going to take a look at the highlights of this game and of the community. Here's Latam cheering on Michael, but here are our players as well. I feel like this is exactly what we were kind of talking about going into the game. The risky plays paying off.
And I think talking about Michael, we can't understate how strong he's been the entire tournament long. Yesterday, he finished off day 1 with 3 wins in a row. He started off this round 3 today with a win and then a 2nd place, then a bit of a falter in a 6th place, but then again a 2nd place in game 4. 2 more seconds now, so his ADP has to be through the roof, absolutely. And again, for me, I know him very well. He was a favorite coming into it, and he's proving it really across these 2 days.
Absolutely. It's been so impressive to watch all these players in this match.
Looking at it here, we're gonna see again the knockout, I'm afraid, of Ripple, if I'm not mistaken. That fight was so close.
Sona cleaning up of all things.
Yeah, not something you see a whole lot.
We're seeing the final fight here between 2 titans of the international TFT
Both
scene.
of them just taking your headphones off casually.
This is one of the skills you need to be a great TFT player, analyzing board strength. Right away, both players knew the outcome of that fight as these boards loaded in. Hydration also so important for players, for casters, for fans alike. Definitely get the water in your system in what is a very long day too.
I think a big story here is if you look at the board cost of Dobbs and Ripple and where they placed, it's very crazy.
Going into the tournament, one thing that we talked so much about was endurance of players and how many games of TFT they would have to play to make it to the final day and then to the final 8. And I think we're really starting to see that now as we're getting and narrowing down our lobbies.
Michael leading this lobby with 14 points, followed by Malala with 13, followed by Double with 12. It's all very open still.
And one quick note to make, look at the big picture of the game plans for these first 2 games. Both Malala and Double, the same exact game plan. Lose streaking early, coming back into the game, and then finding a win. Is this something players have to look forward to in the next 2 games? Is this the secret sauce to actually finding good results and trying to not just finish in the top 4, but win lobbies outright?
I think we're seeing individual lobbies metas adapt as players are coming into them. And so I think that might be the secret to progressing through this lobby.
Yeah, and this graph just showing kind of exactly a well-executed game plan, understanding that you're weak in stage 2, weak in early stage 3, spiking then as hard as possible, again, going on that 12-game win streak, and then basically winning out the lobby.
Yeah, I'm personally so impressed with these players. I don't know how you guys are feeling, but every time I watch these pro plays, I'm just like in awe of what they're able to do. We are going to go to a quick break, though, and in that break, we're going to catch up with Nekra and Gangly, who've been out on the floor.
I am here with the winner of game number 1 of the top 32, Kaito Kite, who just went first in that lobby. How are you feeling about the competition so far?
Well, I mean, I'm feeling amazing. My goal, again, I said this before, but it was only top 256. So to be here competing with the best players in the world is like a dream come true to me.
So it sounds like you've exceeded your expectations. So how did that first day go for you, and how are you playing so consistently?
You know, the first day was actually really scary because on round 2, I was very close to coming eliminated. But I pulled out a first in the last match. And now that I've been playing, I think all the pressure has been off because I am not expected to perform anymore. So there being no nerves has helped me out so much.
Yeah, does that take a little bit of the weight off of your shoulders, knowing that you're just here, you're having fun?
For sure. It's like, as soon as you've met your goal, it's like everything else is kind of like bonus.
Well, that's awesome to hear, and congratulations again on that very first game win, and best of luck with the rest of your games.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We're back here with more side event at the Vegas Open, and I'm here with AJ and Rachel, 2 developers of Teamfight Tactics. AJ, I know you just competed in this side event. Can you break down what the event was?
Yeah, it's really fun. Devs ahead of time get to sign up and get to just play normals with just anybody who's here, anybody who shows up. And it's a really good opportunity to just play casually, have some fun, talk, not get too sweaty, and just have fun with whoever wants to play in person. It's cool.
Now, Rachel, obviously it's the first global LAN event we've ever had for TFT. So can you talk a little bit about what it's like to interact with fans of the game in person for really the first time on a scale like this?
It's been really cool seeing how many people have come from just all over the world to this event, and seeing everyone get excited for the big moments on stream has been really fun. And even just like in this event, talking to just people who love the game and hearing what they love about it, it's been really great to see everyone come out.
The TFT Vegas Open has been amazing. Thank you, AJ and Rachel, for your time. The TFT Vegas Open is not just about the main event. We also have side events throughout the weekend. Behind me is the Mastermind side event where players will be controlling 4 PCs at once. Let's take a look at how some of these players are playing at the event. The Mastermind event is happening right now. We've got 2 players, Daya and Lockie, playing. Let's check in with them, see how it's going. Daya, what's going on?
I'm lost. I'm dizzy. I don't know what to do.
What are you doing, Daya? Daya, tell me what you're doing.
I'm not sure.
What do you mean you're not sure? Tell me. What's your strategy for the 4 boards?
Well, I went AFK, the Augment on 1, so I'm hoping that helps, but it doesn't. So I'm trying to play strongest board as best as I can.
Perfect. Lockie, what are you doing?
I'm doing hotkeys on my account right now.
Oh, you're setting up hockey.
Yeah, but I got 1 AFK and 2 boards are set up decently, I think. Got a 5 KDA somewhere going here, and I have a random Samira, but decent item.
Lockie, what are your chances of winning this tournament?
0.
You heard it here first. Thank you very much. All right, Daya's rolling down. Daya, what's happening, Daya?
I'm lost. I just realized that I'm fighting myself and killing myself the entire time.
What are you rolling for? Forget it. Lockie! Locky, what's happening?
Picking augments. Got decent ones.
What are you rolling for?
Trying to play.
Go
Viego.
faster!
I'm trying to play Pentakill Viego on this one.
Locky, you're losing, Locky!
I have no idea what I'm doing.
Oh my goodness! All right, Locky, it looks like one of your boards was eliminated. Tell me, is this actually an advantage for you?
I think yes, because I actually have like 3 or 2 decently set up boards. This is out next. I don't think I can do anything here anymore. This is completely lost. But I think with these 2, I can win out.
All right, it seems like you were looking to play to lose from the very beginning, so I'm glad it's all working out. Okay, thank you. We're here at the epic conclusion between Daya and Locky, who just finished their game in the Mastermind side event. Daya, you came out on top. Tell me, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. It was very, very difficult, very stressful, extremely stressful. I am time basically. I messed up, sorry. But I made good boards. I went level 9 on most of them. I gave up on 2 or 3. Yeah, and it went well.
Locky, would you describe this event as, I don't know, distracting?
Slightly. Wait. I'm doing hotkeys on my account right now.
Oh, you're setting up hockey.
Yeah, but I got 1 AFK, and 2 boards are set up decently, I think. Got a 5 KDA somewhere going here, and I have a random Samira, but decent item. Yeah, I would definitely agree. But it was definitely hella fun. I did a really good job at beating my own boards, coming out on top against myself, and then losing to some well-crafted boards from the Agile. So, well played. It was hella fun, so yeah.
All right, good game, Daya and Locky. That's going to do it here for us at the Mastermind side event.
You know, the producers actually came to me and they said, Dangly, we need to find a way for the crowd and the viewers to lose respect for you as fast as possible. And I said, listen, I got one idea.
Well, to hone in on that, Gangly, I don't know if you didn't get the memo, but if you look at this beautiful desk of people, we're all coordinated. Where's your leather jacket?
Yeah, I got left out of the group chat. That's what this looks like to me.
I don't know, man. Feels like you just didn't read it.
Did not get the memo, but you're here. That's the important thing, I think, because it's going to be a great finale to this lobby. Crazy storylines. Michael, I think, one of the players that is really smurfing, not just in this lobby, but the entire competition, but also huge comeback from Double 61, now 3rd in the standings, and Malala staying consistent in this lobby.
You know, I'm rooting for my North American brethren in this, but I want to talk about Michael a little bit because I got to talk to him before the event. I asked everybody, who do you expect to see in the top 8? He said himself, 2 other players, the Casey cousins.
And they're both here.
Very cool to see them all coming together. Obviously, players that he has a lot of respect for, and now they're fighting for that top spot.
Problem, though, only 2 can make it out of this lobby. So the fact that they're all here in the same lobby means Michael is not going to be correct.
They met a little early.
I feel like we've seen that a lot, actually. For some of these players, they've kind of been group eliminating each other, where they've had to play multiple of their study group players in the same lobby. But I've been on the floor taking a look at the other lobbies playing out in the top 32, and there are maybe some surprises here that really stand out.
Yeah, lobby 2, this one, we saw Solos earlier, is having an absolute blast. But Gangly, I know you want to talk about Pokygum.
Tri-State's last hope. Pokygum still in the game. Comes back after the 6th in game 1. Tri-State's still alive, baby.
Did someone just woo?
That's one. That's the one other Tri-State fan in the crowd right now.
What about the EMEA fans in the crowd? Because we have a 3-way podium contest for EMEA. Noel from Hungary, Kevin Parker from Germany, and Lires from France, all doing so well in these first 2 games.
I mean, Noel has just smashed it. That's 2 firsts in a row, and I remember we were trying to get an interview with him after he won that first game, and he said, we'll talk after I win the next one.
Listen, there he is. Well, another success story for EMEA has to be Zaza, but Broccoli also having an absolute good round of 1st and the 2nd. You have to be so happy about this one.
Also, just take a look at the regional representation we get from a lobby like this, right? We're in the top 32. There's not that many players remaining. So to see so many regions losing to the hand of Broccoli is just beautiful.
And Koro, a player who was a League of Legends player back in the day, was even teammates with Deft on EDG so many years ago, here performing at a high level at a TFT event as well is so, so great. Unfortunate, both Chinese players are both in that same lobby.
Overall standings there on the main screen, and Broccoli is leading the pack. Michael right behind him with 2 second places. Uber Dota also has been smashing it for this entire tournament, but then look at the wall of EMEA players, man. It's good to see.
What are we doing here, Gangly? What is happening
There is
right now?
too much pink on that screen.
Yeah, really.
That's what I'm seeing.
Okay, maybe that's a little bit better. We're seeing a lot of blue pop up here on the overall standings on this next page. But I think what's been really exciting to see is just kind of everybody's total score. Like, this is the overall standings based on every single game that each of these players has played. What we don't get a chance to see, though, is how that actually shakes up, because you also have to look at that from a lobby snapshot.
It's a really great point. Obviously, you know, with so many strict cutoffs, we have players playing for those top 2 positions. We don't always get a chance to step back and actually see how players are competing over the course of the whole weekend.
And I've been following Michael's scores very closely. I mentioned the last cast that he's been just super consistent, a lot of first and second, and Broccoli's ahead of him. So I haven't been looking at Broccoli's exact scores. He has to have been smurfing and dominating every single stage, every round of this tournament up until now.
And honestly, it's a little bit of even kind of a redemption arc for Broccoli. It's been a long time since Broccoli's really been considered that top 10, top 15 consistent player. So really happy to see a player like him back in forth.
Well, we are going to go back into it. Game number 3 at the TFT Open is going to start right now. We're going to choose some portals, guys.
Portal choices are a little even too across the board in terms of what these players even want to pick. So I'm very curious to see where we ended up. And
Artifact Anvil coming through.
That's fun.
It is very fun.
That's a fun one.
And fairly high variance as well. We talk about portals being a much more lower variance compared to set 9 Runeterra Reforged, but in this case, Artifact Anvil, huge, especially with some artifacts being so strong in the early stages. Gold Mantras is one of them for sure. We saw that last patch, but still this patch as well.
Yeah, generally speaking, I feel like foreign artifact anvils are the kind of portal where you actually kind of have to do your homework, right? Back in set 9, when people were playing Orin all the time, they're used to this, but this is a pretty high impact portal, so you better be ready for it.
So curious, and a question for you all then. When do you pop the anvil?
So for me, usually it's right after having the choice of picking your headliner, or when you're about to commit to one if you're very sure that's going to be the case, just to make sure that if you click on this headliner, you have something that can work with it, because at the end of the day, when you pick a headliner, that is the bulk of your power in stage 2, and if your artifact does not line up either in a way to stall out for that damage to come through or to amplify the damage from the headliner, it could be problematic.
Yeah, generally speaking, you know, you got multiple Orin artifacts you can choose. You only have one headliner in your shop, right? So it's a little bit easier for your headliner to inform the decision of the artifact than the other way around.
So while that is the correct play, I like to pop the anvil right away and play for power.
I mean, I don't think it's wrong to pop it right away. Generally speaking, people will have the headliner, right? But you just kind of live in chaos. That's the difference.
It's true, it's true.
Hey, I find sometimes if you pop the anvil a little early, it might give you a sense of a bit of direction. Like if you get one that you know sticks out to you as, wow, this is like the perfect item that I would really love to have, it does open you up or maybe help you not get so dizzy.
Golden Augments coming through here. That could be a part of the decision making for some of those players. Gets a lot of options, but goes for yet another
Big Gem
anvil
is
pick.
online, has been picked. We've seen it across the entire tournament. One of the strongest pickups in this 2-1 stage. And 3 defensive options for Micah here with that Tom Kench headliner.
Is that Cluttered Mind on double? I'm sorry,
Looks
I'm
like Cluttered
squinting,
Mind. Yeah, it
but
does look like
that
Cluttered Mind.
has to be a fun one that we look for.
And we're seeing the bench filling up slowly, and Double trying to go fast 9 in this case, trying to get levels online as quickly as possible, while having the chance to hold a lot of extra pairs on his bench, which help him stabilize his board across stages 2 and 3.
Double's got a lot of 2 costs somehow. He's got 2 on the bench, 2 in the shop. He is swimming in 2 costs.
It's nice though, because it does help you figure out how you're going to navigate that mid game. I feel like when you do have that kind of strength on your bench, you're just providing yourself a lot of options. If you need to tech in something that's maybe a little bit beefier of a front line, or you can try to pivot something else out in the back.
Watch out, there's 2 Lilias on the board, and one is a big, big threat. She's just gonna bomb through. and Double will find a loss here, but I don't think he's worried about that one for now, as he is playing into that cluttered a lot. We are seeing very many item augments actually being picked up. I thought I saw the adaptive on Canvas. We just saw the crown guard on the other side of the board. That's pretty interesting to me.
Yeah, I was going to point out, Double not picking up his headliner quite yet. Maybe looking to use the experience gained from the Cluttered Mind to give him a better chance of getting one of those 2-cost headliners. Obviously, it's going to cost a little bit more. But if he's in a position where he can streak, maybe find that 2-star Senna, which we've seen be so strong in the early mid-game, it puts him in a position to potentially high roll.
I love this game plan from Ripple Overdrive. Going to the Yasuo, at least for now, he's a champion that wants to be strong, play for high tempo early to scale the unit himself. But same with Spoils of War, you're lining up your Augment with your headliner choice, which I think is fantastic from Ripple, and he could be going to that edgelord line later into the game.
Yeah, but we're seeing that Dobbs is going to start out here with one of those headliner Corkies, already itemizing it, so you're going to make sure that you're getting a ton of damage down onto the board. And when you have something like the Lilia in the front line with the Crown Guard, you know she's staying alive for a really long time too. That helps to allow this Corki to get that damage down.
Yeah, and while I agree with you that I do like the Yasuo pickup, the itemization, it's not working all the way right now. You do have 2 losses down. Well, normally with the Spoils of War, really you want to be winning, and that's not working yet, but it could be soon.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, it does have the Last Whisper slam, though, so a little bit trickier.
I don't think it matters. This is a Senna headliner in stage 2.
Yeah, with the true damage as well.
Gold collector as well. I mean, it doesn't matter what items you slam, Gangly. You surely picked this up.
All right, looks like you're right. Yeah,
KDA online as well. A Nico, a decent amount of gold here. Zeke's for that Katarina. Could be a Lilia here as well. So just crazy setup here from Malala already.
Yeah, sells it off, like you said, and will go into that Lilia instead. On the other side, we're meeting Double again, who is now fully cluttered in his mind and will get that extra XP. But Malala probably going to win this one.
His brain is just full of secrets.
Yes, all the secrets.
All right, Malala going to take this over Double, who still does not have that headliner chosen to. That's a good thing to keep in mind as we look to see in the latter half of Stage 2 if Double's going to try and greed for a really strong headliner or if he's just going to take something that allows him to save some HP.
I don't hate that idea either, especially if you can continue with HP preservation and your losses aren't too bad, then you are gaining so much experience that at a certain point, you're going to spike really hard above the rest of the competition in this lobby. But we're going to Carousel now, and I feel like there's some really nice choices on the board for what our players are going to try to round out their items with.
And overall, I think the name of the game for this stage 2 is gold generation. So many of the artifacts we're seeing across the board. We have Diamond Hands, the gold collector, the needlessly big gem for Michael as well. So overall, a very accelerated economy gain for most of these players. We could be seeing a lot more Fast 9, similar to that game 2 that we just saw recently.
Dobbs, Canvas, both on 100 HP. They will try to defend that streak. You can see Canvas is already on level 5. Dobbs still on level 4, and despite that being 100 HP is interesting.
We've seen yeah, you see those 3 bards in the top there. That
tempting.
But what's the mantra of this event? Is it bait or is it tech, right?
Bait.
Yeah, it looks a little bit like bait. But Dobbs is playing around this quirky headliner, which we've seen throughout the entire event is a flexible and stable way to get you through stage 2 and 3. Dobbs has to feel pretty good about being able to play that in this position of the game.
And a great setup for that maybe Millie Bruiser board later on. You have both the Idealism and the Infinity Force already, so could be fantastic setup for so many of the meta Millie Bruisers in that stage 4.
Looking whether or not they can defend that win streak. I think for Canvas it might actually get close. There's one big beefy unit making his way towards that backline together with the Urgot. He is going to take an L here. And on the right-hand side, the story doesn't look any different. The board is coming to overrun him.
Oh, wow. Both streakers looks like... Oh, actually, Canvas does maintain his streak, right? We're looking, yeah, I think we were looking at it from the opposite side of the board. Yeah, yeah. I thought the same thing.
Bait it. I get it.
Yeah. So Canvas able to maintain, and then I believe Dobbs was not able to continue that streak, right?
And as you mentioned, Gangly, with the Clutter Mind double, not picking a headliner in the end, gets that Gnar headliner, which you mentioned was strong in stage 3, equally so in stage 2. So already we see some players with those 2-cost headliners really having a big impact on what could be the next 2 stages. Malala on that Senna, and we see, of course, double on Gnar.
You can see why this win streak is still happening here for Canvas, though. Like, take a look at this Lilia. Those items are so good for her to be able to carry out this front line, and the fact that you have KDA teched in as well means that you are just going to be a super strong board.
Yeah, one of the things in Stage 2 especially is because you don't have full itemized and fully upgraded backline, your front line ends up doing way more damage than it will later on in the game, right, compared to the rest of your board. So being able to have this strong Lilia in the front line is obviously getting Canvas quite a bit of mileage.
I think the key point for me has to be adaptation, because the super fan giving adaptive and then also the Augment playing into that, double buffed up on Lilia. She is just getting all of the love and she is repaying it by being a great tank.
Malala, 40 gold to work with already and relatively healthy as well at 90 HP. And that just, you know, there's one word for that. It's Senna, really. That's all it is. We mentioned, I think it's an insta-buy for any stage, well, stage 2 and 3 especially, and we've seen it across the entire tournament.
The right-hand side here is Turtle. Didn't have the best luck in the previous games, only on 4 points. If he really wants to make it, he needs to go back-to-back first place, that's quite literally. And on the other side, we are seeing players like Double, who had that low placement, were able to claw it back, and are now sitting on 12 points.
You know, I feel like this is a great time to kind of set the stage of the event, right? We've talked so much about it's anybody's tournament, it's your chance to break out, your chance to step into the light. When you see a lobby like this, where it's an open bracket, but somehow all the best talent have found themselves in the same lobby. It's cool to actually see this, you know, all of the best talent earning their spot at the end and potentially making a way into the top 8.
This is a championship caliber lobby. I think that's what's really neat about walking the floor and seeing the players that are in the top 32 and even beyond that, that already got eliminated from the competition, is that these are the types of players we have seen at these set championships, and they're really putting on display for us what makes them so special.
There's a reason why these players that are not from NA came all the way over here to compete. They knew that they have what it takes to make it far in this tournament. Double 61 in Canvas coming all the way from France, Dobbs coming all the way from Brazil, Michael coming from Chile as well. So it really goes to show that these players, they know what they're worth in TFT.
And speaking of Michael, I mean, once again, he is sitting pretty comfortable here in the middle of the lobby. Canvas, though, trying to defeat that win streak, or defend it. Actually, 5 wins in the tank. He is going to keep on going. That Gnar is going to serve one more big smash. And there's already an Akali on board. Did I see that correctly?
I believe so from Turtle, yeah. It looks like he does have the 2 Executioner in, but listen, Akali, it's got to feel pretty good, right?
Phoenix has a Twisted Fate with an Archangels as well. There's going to be a ton of AP coming through for that particular champion, but we've got another Augment choice. And this is where I feel like things start to get really interesting, is with the second Augment, especially heading into the mid-game and it being gold, there's so many fun options to really help make your board strong.
Saw a snap pick from, I believe that's Malala, right?
Blinged out, and no surprises. If you're a stat fiend coming to this event, you can't use stats while you're playing, but if you've studied, you know Blinged Out has been popping off, and it makes sense. True damage has been so strong on this patch specifically.
It's not the only one, though. Canvas also taking that Blinged Out. Canvas playing from this high roll position from stage 2, and this is one of those things where, you know what, they say anyone can high roll, but it's up to you to pilot it. Canvas definitely looking in a strong spot.
I've never heard that phrase.
Oh, really?
I'm like, huh? It's true. Anyone can high roll, but we are going to be seeing whether or not Canvas keeps going here. A lot of the times throughout the tournament, I feel like we were talking about, oh, you know, the lost streak, the econ, then clawing back is a great technique for these players. Canvas just choosing the high route. He's just going with that win streak, and he's going to do it again here.
There's this famous saying from one of the greatest Super Smash Brothers players, Isaiah, who says, someone asked him, how do I get better at the game? How do I win? He said, don't get hit. That's kind of what Canvas is doing right now. Just don't lose and you'll win.
But the best defense is the best offense, and you just want to play from those high positions. And we have seen this strategy really pay out for so many of our players that we've seen on the main stage, and even beyond that, where if you have so much HP, you get a lot of gold. Like, it all comes together and it snowballs for you.
The Moguls Mail, okay business there, really stalled out fight, making sure both players are able to get that gold generation going. And we're looking at Canvas Great win streak, high tempo, preserving his HP, of course, still at 100, but also a lot of great econ coming from that Mogul's Mail.
Malala on his heels, though, has leveled to 7, is sitting on his board there in the top left corner for just a second, sneaking by, seeing what Canvas is doing. You can see him pop up again and again, but Canvas is going to follow that trend, goes for the level 7 as well before they potentially meet here. And that is exactly what's going to happen.
Big fight, huge fight here. Let's see how it all plays out. There's actually a lot at stake. Canvas taking the level up off interval does actually have pretty large effects on his economy at large, especially if he can't win this.
Yeah, if he loses it, that is going to feel really, really bad. You got that Gnar that's going to be able to try to pop off a little bit, but there's nothing that's going to be stopping that Senna that's in the back line. It's fully itemized there, especially when you look at the execution that you're able to get on some of those low health units. That was devastating, and I wonder how Canvas is really going to deal with that moving forward.
Ripple 8 loss streak now down to 45 HP. We've been seeing both Malala in game 1 and Double in game 2, finding a way to lose streak and then pop off with a huge spike in stages 3 and 4. We'll see if Ripple can follow in those same footsteps. Look at the carousel here, though. Some key units coming in. Akali, of course, and TF, 2 meta staples with Disco and that Carthage Akali comp being massive in stage 4.
Very curious to see what Ripple's board is going to look like. It looks a little awkward right now, but he does have the Steel Heart in, so I'm not exactly sure if he's going to try and make a pivot now or if that's going to come at 4-2, but definitely, like you're saying, Panda, got to keep an eye on that board.
A lot of epic units also coming through. The 4 costs appearing on everybody's boards. One of them being picked up by Double here. We saw it for a second. And Akali, we're going to hop on over to Turtle and Ripple Overdrive. Both of these players need high finishes to solidify their placement going to tomorrow. Only the top 2 can make it. And Ripple is going to level up here, put in that extra unit, get the level 7.
Not just any extra unit, that's a Jax too. You don't see many Jaxes on board of this tournament. I wish we saw more. I think he's a great and very fun unit. Was not very strong last patch. I think a little bit better in this one, but still is eclipsed by units like Gnar, for example. His AI, with the way his ult works, gets himself into a lot of trouble very often. He jumps right into the middle of the fight and then dies off very quickly. We'll see if the TG can help him out here with that Predator's Vow. Not really the case, but maybe Kaisa can finally clean up here.
Lots of executions coming out.
It's the Senna, man.
Yeah, the Senna thing is pretty crazy. I'm not going to lie.
Gold Collectors is popping off as well. You're getting so much economy for the Senna being able to put in that damage, and I think that's going to start to really kind of carry things away as we look into the later stages of this game. But I kind of want to check in as well on the rest of how the lobby's doing. I mean, KC double 61, you also see Malala there now going on a win streak, and so that's going to feel really good too when you look at the fact that you're at level 7.
Gonna be seeing Michael here. Just a quick reminder, previous 2 games were a 2nd place. He's in a great position right now, but can he keep it going with everybody else starting to try hard more and more and more and more and more? How are you going to keep up?
This is Michael on Heartsteel. He loves to play this. He's been playing it all throughout the ladder in the US, the entirety of really all of set 10. He's been grinding the Wild Rumble ladder race over there, and we might be seeing that comfortable comp that he loves to play with Disco and Heartsteel in this game potentially as well. Already has the early Ezreal itemized, and look at the gold coming in from the new Big Den. So great with this Echo headliner.
Everybody is printing gold in this lobby. It feels like every time we watch a fight, there's like 5 extra gold for every player.
Turtle also opted to take the balanced budget on the other side too, so not sure if maybe Turtle's looking to go for like fast 8 and then stabilize there, but they're running out of HP, sitting in the 8th place position right now at 30 HP.
And for Turtle, this is the same spot as game 2, trying to go fast 9, finding himself in the middle of that, and Urgot 3 comes in for free for Michael, insta-sold here. Looking for that Ezreal pair, maybe an Ezreal upgrade at a level 8 if he wants to go there on 4-2.
Needs just 1 more, has 2. Could be coming through in the next shot. We're going to be seeing whether or not that is the case. But of course, first, a little bit of upgrades coming through. Only player that is in a streak right now is KC double 61, going up with 5 wins. Ripple Overdrive, and a lot of losses. That's not the straight you want to find yourself in.
No, and you have to take a look at Turtle Duckling as well. Is going to be able to level to 8, so could make a lot of upgrades to this board, but you're also sitting at 30 HP, and that doesn't feel comfortable either, knowing the economy of the rest of the players in this lobby.
Needs to find the Blitzcrank, has a TF pair. If he finds both, that could be the key to stabilization, but he has to go faster. He has to roll. He's finding the Ezreal, taking a page out of Michael's book. Doesn't find the Blitz, doesn't have a headliner yet either, has to reposition the disco balls as well and slam all these items, so the APM needs to come through here for Turtle.
Yeah, tricky spot for Turtle, doesn't quite hit what he's looking for, has some pieces on the board, but not sure if he's quite out of the woods yet. On the other side, we do see Malala, who also went 8, spent a lot of that gold, and this time around has a headliner, Caitlyn, with that the execution item. I can't remember the name
collector.
of it. The gold collector.
Too,
yeah,
that he just got 0 items. That guy was just chilling and doing nothing to contribute to the team.
Now, on the other hand, Ripple Overdrive did not go 8 yet. Looks like he's about to try and go 8 now, and it looks like there's going to be a cash out as well. So we'll see after this Augment selection if Ripple Overdrive is able to stabilize their board or if they're just going to bleed out.
He has to choose his Augment fast. He needs to do a lot on this turn. Turtle as well. Both players under pressure.
It. Bottom center
CSL.
is the one that we are looking at coming up close now again.
Finds a Sona.
Pretty good.
Get that
frontline upgrade.
fresh.
Needs some backline DPS.
I think that's
backline carry.
Caitlin's tempting.
I think you can play that. You have a Sona, you can give the Caitlyn an attack speed buff, right?
Yeah, red buff as well.
You can play around this damage Sona. I'm not exactly, there's going to be some damage on there. You have the Hand of Justice, you have the Infinity Force, you can probably play this red buff. I imagine that's probably
Wants
quite
to use the
good too.
duplicator on this turn, maybe rolling a bit more, trying to find something else. We'll see if this will be enough. It's an interesting board. Only 4 traits activated. Can this Caitlyn do enough?
Well, I think this...
Oh, look, he's facing Turtle, and Turtle has found a way to stabilize. Now, Alawi has been found. Blitz as well.
It's
TF
still on
one star.
TF1 though. Is that enough damage to actually deal with the board? Caitlyn on the backline now with 3 items is going to start sniping away at the rest of the board, and it's exactly what I feared. The board from Turtle is just taking so much damage all throughout this, and the Twisted Fate is not doing enough to support, but he will be getting some fights out. Caitlyn's still alive. Can she do it? The answer is no. Ripple losing again, 12 losses now.
Oh, so that was my worry heading into this fight and taking a look at what Ripple's board was. Is, you know, is he going to be able to have the front line here? But, Michael, what in the world? This is such a roll.
Did anyone else see him just see 2 Jins in the shop and just say, no thanks?
Not a good sign for Jin, unfortunately.
No.
I don't know if you have the items for that
no
to really make it work. So disappointing to have to pass up on such a valuable pair of legendary units. But I'm very, very worried looking at where Ripple Overdrive and Turtle Duckling are right now.
Let's see, Ripple does get the 2 8-bit in, had Sentinel frontline.
Massive Zephyr as well. This really hurts.
Question is it enough? The Caitlyn is going again, get support in the front line. Front line from Double, taking a lot of damage. Ari in the back line is still going though. That's a lot of stuns that are going out onto the team. She is coming closer. One more crowd diver, and Ripple can stop the bleeding for once.
I mean, look at that Thresh. The Thresh with the double crown guard there really did help to stabilize that front line. And so itemizing that unit was really impactful. It takes so much damage.
Alawi pair for Turtle. Did Turtle miss it in the end? He was hesitating. No, Turtle got it. Thank God. That would have been devastating otherwise. Sitting on Alawi on his board already.
Ripple definitely would have loved to have the Alawi. Ripple's got a lot of damage, right? Between the Akali and with the Thieves Gloves and this Caitlyn, which you really just need a Sentinel package, right? You can play around this 2 Sentinel, 2 Bruiser with the Alawi on your board. All of a sudden, you have plenty of frontline for this Caitlyn to ramp up.
And that last win was a tiny bit fake because Double was sitting on all of his gold, still had not chosen to spike yet.
Yeah, I think that's my worry as well. I don't think that the damage that we saw from Ripple is actually enough. We saw him falter to a Twisted Fate 1. So right now, it feels like whatever Ripple has going on is a little bit fraudulent in terms of units.
Phoenix is cooking, finds a Sona, finds a Ziggs in the shop, is still sitting on some very low-cost units here with both the Katarina with TG, the Evelyn in the front line as well. Interesting spot here for Phoenix, has to slam all of these items down the process.
Yeah, not sure what happened on this roll down, but obviously Phoenix not exactly where he wants to be. no real upgraded units kind of anywhere on the board that are making a meaningful
That's
difference.
perfect matchmaking for Ripple, though.
That's true.
This
North
board
America.
is weak as anything in this lobby. Coming from Phoenix, Ripple is going to run over it.
Silver lining here is that Phoenix has a lot of HP to work with still compared to both Ripple and Turtle. Still 50 HP, now down to 36. He has some time to continue stabilizing here.
Ripple's really looking for a few key upgrades. You have a really nice front line now, especially looking at the Thresh and how that's itemized, but you also have the Amumu as well as the Mordekaiser, and if you were able to 2-star either of those, I think you're sitting pretty. Knowing that you have the Emo in as well with something like the Vex, I do think that that is a really great way to get backline access too.
I want to compliment Ripple for the nerfs of steel that we're seeing here. You know that there are some beasts in your lobby pool, in your matchmaking pool. One of them is Malala that's now coming on. Did not roll his gold yet, so that has to be a good point. But the big question is it enough? He was holding to make it to Raptors to then maybe turn his gold into something. Caitlyn in the backline untouched. She's going to go off, but the same thing is happening on the other side. Support from Thresh coming in. He's making his way to the Caitlyn of Malala. Ripple able to hang on.
We saw this earlier today with when Phoenix had these nerves of steel and said, you know what, if I go 8th, it does not matter, right?
Yes.
Because you have to play for those top 2 spots. So you know what, I like it. I think Ripple's in a place now where his economy is built back up and he has a chance to cap higher.
And I want to commend, of course, Ripple on his bravery, but also it's a reflection of the format itself. I think Ripple knows he has to play well in this game 3. He knows really the only correct play is to risk it here and try and go fast 9 and find a way to cap out his board so he can finish in that 2nd or 1st place position.
Looking at the 2 heavy hitters in the lobby for now, Malala and Double 61.
Double 61 is going to have a lot of gold to work with too on this roll down. He's about to hit level 9. He gets a chance to pick an item here, and now let's make the magic happen.
80 gold to work with.
Yeah.
And this is one of the most flexible players in the world. Does he want the Lucian? He doesn't. Does he want the Sona? A little bit more enticing, but he doesn't have the items for it.
Oh my goodness!
No Rage Blade for that Sona. The Kane is a big pickup though.
We take a Lilia. Rolls down. Finds the headliner on the Alawi, and that is going to be the final pickup here. But that was also pretty brave,
What
I would
are they
say.
feeding these French players?
And
man?
Double, of
This is
course,
crazy.
Double is the Alawi Whisper. He hit Alawi 3 earlier in round 3. Now hitting the right headliner in the right moment to try and continue staying stable in this game 3.
Perfect hit too. Yeah, he just looks like he's in such a comfortable position now, having had
Look
that
at Ripple
board
executing the
presence,
game plan to perfection.
Oh!
Finds a win. Spoils of War will scale him more into this late game as he gets these massive kills on so many different units in this stage 5.
We haven't had the chance to talk about it as much, but what you're seeing for Ripple is also happening for Turtle. Both of these players finding the win streaks, finding a way out, finding a way to stop the bleeding, and being on fire here. Only problem is, if they run into each other, we might have a situation on our hands, and the person that is getting caught up in all of this is Dobbs.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like people have talked about the loss streak and open port strategy not being as effective, but I know, Panda, you were telling me even the first 2 games, it was those boomerang kind of players coming back and winning the game.
Someone's gonna get knocked out!
Oh boy, here we go. We got Dobbs, we got Ripple Overdrive, the Caitlyn's online. There's a really strong Poppy in the front line for Dobbs, so the question is that Poppy going to be able to body block for the back line of Dobbs, or is the Caitlyn going to be able to snipe that Zen? At this point, it looks like there's just no more damage on Dobbs' board. Ripple Overdrive stays alive, Dobbs goes out in 8th.
An unfortunate result for Dobbs, the last remaining Brazilian player in this top 32. This bottom 4, I think, seals the deal in terms of his placements. Did not have the greatest first 2 games as well. Can still, of course, play for placements, play for prize pool, play for pride for his region and for himself. But overall, not the 8th he wanted in this game 3.
And you can see Turtle and Ripple rising on the right-hand side in those overall lobby standings. And 2 players that seem to get caught up on it after Dobbs are Phoenix and Michael, who we were talking about earlier.
That is the danger of that lose streak strategy, is if you don't have enough HP to be able to make that transition at level 9, then you could be absolutely screwed. But when you look at these 2 players, like I love the
headliner.
That is insane.
And look at the Zephyr. Oh no. Alawi was sold for Kiana. I think Double really showing the headliner he values the most when it comes to the 5 calls. And it's understandable why this unit is an absolute smurf in stage 5, especially when itemized with these items, specifically Edge of Night and that BT from Superfan so big. Phoenix knocked out, unfortunately.
Is there some sort of bug in the game where the Orin artifact anvil just let... No! Oh my goodness. Ripple Overdrive going out in 6. Heartbreaking. On that 6th game win streak, but obviously not enough.
True damage emblem. This could be very interesting for some of our players. We saw a ton of Caitlyn and Akali and Kiana players, and Double is the one to pick it up here. Let's see what he can cook up with this new emblem being added to his comp.
Well, it's nice too because you also ended up denying some of the blinged out players. Like Malala and Cambiz are still on that augment, so you know that they're going to be trying to look to tech in more true damage. So you did deny them a very key piece of that.
But if Michael gets bottom 4th here, then that opens up the space for other players to come through, like Canvas. So that has to be a big storyline for this lobby. He got 2 second places. He was looking to get up there again. It's a top 2 cutoff. And if he gets a lower placement here, other players will have the chance to rise above.
Yeah, it's important to keep in mind too, right? Because of the low sample size number of games, it's not like we have a number that you're aiming for. We saw lobbies cut off at 20. We saw lobbies cut off up to 23, right? It's a very large gap. You really are not certain whether you've done enough.
And Michael fighting for his life. The double Rage Blade Soda with a gem on top. Can the gem proc in time? The Stone has taken down the massive Jeweled Gauntlet crit from the Karthus. Does enough, but still. Oh! In favor of Micah. The one-punch man set comes through for the Chilean player.
Oh my goodness, my heart is racing. That punch came through. Michael has to be feeling good right now.
Turtle Duckling is still also alive, sitting at 2 HP, but this lobby is getting closer and closer. KC Double 61 though, sitting at 40 HP in a 4-game win streak.
The big thing is Michael has to do this again. He needs to repeat this, and I am so worried on whether or not that is going to be possible. You're looking at Double 61, 4 wins in a streak. If that guy comes around, you are going to be
the Zephyr's
scared,
gonna
and
be on
that's
Sona.
exactly what it is. Zephyr, like you're saying, finding that Sona straight away. Good thing is he has Realism Touch. He can get out that damage. He can get it out onto the front line. Try and help his team to take down these beefy tanks. Big problem though, the rest of your team is already crumbling. The Ezreal under attack, and that is going to be it for Michael.
Double is way too strong. He's the Grim Reaper, the boogeyman in this lobby. Turtle, though, clutches up. Unlike that game 2, manages to finally stabilize despite the high-risk game plan he was going for and makes his way into the top 4. Malala, Double 61, and Cambiz repeating a top 4 from that game 2. Malala top 4 every single game in this lobby up until this point. So a huge consistency for this North American player.
5th place probably not spelling disaster for Michael quite yet, right? Definitely has that last game with 2 second places up to that point in time. Built himself a little bit of a safety net with a top 2 cutoff. It's going to be very hard going to that final game for him.
Gonna take a look at Malala's board here. A lot of potential upgrades still to be found, which I think led a little bit to that win that we saw from Michael over him. But as I'm speaking, he's hitting.
Yeah, that's an RE2 star, which is going to really be nice to have in that backline. You also get a chance to choose one of these items from the anvil, and these all look pretty nice.
I will say, how, a lot of the value you get out of this Kiana is being able to beef up your front line as you are taking items off of your opponent back onto your front line. But if you're putting items on a Kennen 1 and Lilia 1, it's really not adding that much value to your board.
Cambiz and Turtle Duckling fighting for their lives. The TF has to stay alive, has to dodge the crits on that Karthus. So if he's able to do so, scale this Archangel later into this fight. If it's stalled out enough, he might be able to win. Cambiz needs at least one more Karthus, but it's not going to come in time. Does it? I think it's not the case.
This is not
Karthus taken down. Cambiz down in 4th. Turtle survives at least for one more round, but whoever faces Double, I think, will be taking a loss guaranteed with how strong he is right now. He's level 10.
Oh my god. If he didn't need any more strength.
Out of gold. Turtle Duckling just about there as well. You have to imagine, as Malala, you're very thankful for the fact that you were able to preserve so much HP though, right? KC Double definitely in a position where he's able to cap out probably higher, probably significantly higher than anyone else in the lobby, but Malala kind of did the groundwork for himself, right? And put himself in a position where KC Double can kind of kill everybody else, and Malala will try his best to just cruise into a second from there.
The Zephyr does not hit the TF, so one minor, not misplay, but just can't hit that massive tap on the Zephyr for that fight right now.
Oh, it's heads up. Malala and Turtle right now playing for third or second place. Turtle's board looks like it is making its way through Malala. The question is actually going to kill Malala?
It is going to be a big hit, but not the final hit.
Now,
just yet. Malala
matchmaking.
able to hang on, and Malala did have a first and a second. Another first or second would solidify him in there. That would be amazing. But even the third place, you're happy about that one.
Malala finding some upgrades.
Do we get the 2-star Lucian here? Yeah. I think you're hoping at this point, what, could matchmaking actually put both of them up against KC double 61 though, right? So someone could play a Ghost and one of them could play him.
Exactly, it looks like Malala gets the Ghost. That is huge for Malala to dodges the Zephyr as well. That means Turtle is going to be fighting against
the Zephyr hits TF as well.
Yeah, it's a little bit inverted here. So on the right-hand side, you're seeing Double on the bench POV, and on the other side, you're seeing him as the opponent. But he might just do exactly that. The board is running around, taking out Malala, and on the other side, it is taking out Turtle. And with that, Double is going to claim another win here, back-to-back. Amazing.
We've been hyping him up the entire time. We see the relief or maybe just the ecstatic happiness on his face because he knows he's heating up to that maximum form that he has accomplished before, all the way back in set 3, all the way through 2 regional wins in EMEA across his career in TFT. And he's heating up to become, I think, one of the key favorites to maybe make it to tomorrow, to maybe make it to that day 3 that so many players are looking for.
There's a reason that KC Double is one of the players that other professional players are looking at saying, this guy, maybe I don't even know that much about Europe. What I know is that KC Double is a beast at this game, right? You also got to say Malala, 3 top 2 finishes, right?
Yes.
The first 3 games. The North American standing tall right alongside KC Double.
3 top 4s, I believe Malala finished 4th in game 2, but still consistent as hell coming into this lobby.
Yeah.
Especially with how stacked this is. We're seeing KC Double, the photo out there, the thumbs up to the fans back in France, to all the Carmine Core fans as well, and maybe to us, because we're biased.
Because they're a little biased, but I get where the bias comes from. It's
I
okay.
mean, you just saw him.
I think there's a really good reason to be biased in the situation, but how could you not be when you take a look at a player like that? He is in peak form right now, and it's been so impressive to watch him in particular because of how many sets he's been good at.
Looking at the highlights here for Michael, it wasn't the best round, but he's still in a pretty good spot. I would say it's all going to come down to that final game in the second day of the TFT Vegas Open. The players are still going. The lobby is as close as ever. We're going to see who comes out on top after that last game. But what was your favorite moment during this?
I think it was the moment that Double picked Cluttered Mind. Because that Augment is just so strong. If the word mind is in the Augment, just click it. Clear and Cluttered Mind so strong in this set 10, I think, where Fast 9 can be rewarded in the right hands, especially. I think Double knows how to cap his board. We even saw him selling Ilawi headliner into Kiana headliner. This shows really good knowledge of the patch of the set and of what 5 costs are superior in scaling yourself into that late game.
Yeah, I think KC Double did a lot of really cool things in the game, right? The first that we did see was being able to play around the Cluttered Mind, to play tempo, right? Getting that 2-cost headliner early in the game to be able to scale up faster than the rest of the people in the lobby. And then, like you mentioned, Panda, he knew what he wanted on 9. He knew how to cap out, and most importantly, he knew how to pilot that to eventually go 10 and dominate the lobby.
Look at the fights. They weren't even close.
No, not even close.
He was way ahead of everyone else, and that shows really good understanding of how to cap out your board, which I think in this set particularly is a crucial skill. We got points.
Check out the points. Malala and Double both on 20. Michael right behind them with 18. And then the rest of the lobby a little bit further behind, 13 on both Ripple and Canvas, followed by Turtle, Phoenix, and Dog.
I mean, this is a 3-man race at this point, right? We've got KC Double, we've got Michael, and we've got Malala all vying for those top 2 spots. But there's only 2 of them. One of them is not making it to tomorrow.
And all representing different regions as well. I think is great thing about this lobby, about most of the top 32. All 4 lobbies look to have a pretty decent split between most regions, with NA, of course, still being the superior one due to the sheer numbers that we started off with in day 1.
You can just end after being the superior one.
Gang, I'm trying to save face with my EMEA fans, all right?
And we're looking at the lobby graph, and it's looking exactly the same way that it looked
Run it
for
back.
the previous game. If it worked, why not run it back? Starting out with that open loss streak, really going for weakest board, not even going for a headliner. Then on the back of the roll downs, finding your board, placing it together, and of course in this round, capping out with 10 as a level has to be something that we shout out.
It's so rare. It is
Yeah.
so rare. We haven't seen it more than one other time on the main stage, and even just looking at kind of how everything else has been going on around the arena, it's still rare, but look at this.
Broccoli,
We're all standing.
third place in this last game, continuing to just be so consistent and dominant across the entire tournament. But now France also showcasing why they are considered the best country in EMEA, one of the best countries in the world.
Wow,
TFT.
Man, EMEA showing up all over these games.
I tried to warn you guys.
Oh, yeah.
You weren't listening on day one.
Oh my goodness. But you know what? Solus right up there as well. We did get to see him in the last round being very
Flancy.
successful. Flancy as well. There's a lot of regional representation. We see Southeast Asia there as well with Can't Without You. There are so many threats in this event.
I love seeing all of them.
Okay. Gang League loves to get
This is 25th place, so only advanced.
Hold on, I think I should not be happy about that. I should be unhappy about that.
Day one, good. Day two, about to be day two.
No, you're right. Okay.
I love that you just get excited every time you read his name. But we are going to go into a quick break, and we'll see you guys with the final game of the day after that, so don't go anywhere.
I'm here with the masterminds of the Mastermind side event. Alex, Sloan, and Julian, thank you so much for being here. Alex, can you tell me a little bit about the origin of the Mastermind side event?
Of course. It started like all great things do as a conversation between friends. I was just chatting with a friend of mine back at Riot. We were talking about all the stuff we love about TFT, and we realized that we could distill all of it into a 1v1 experience if we really wanted to. And suddenly the conversation started crackling. We started noticing that, wait, if we line 4 computers up against each other, you have to run between them to take any actions at all. And then from there, we started actually talking about logistics, and as these crazy conversations do, it became more and more real, and suddenly I realized maybe we should try this with the TFT design team.
So yeah, the moment Alex brought this to us, we were kind of like, this is fantastic. We need to be involved. This is the hypest thing I've heard of in a while. So we got the esports team on. We went into the PC Bang on campus. Gave it a name. The name was important. We were like, oh, it's got to be Mastermind. It's got to be big brain, even though it's actually very physical. We arrived. We set it up. We were like, okay, this looks fun. And then we sat down and we actually tried to cast the first game. So it was me and a friend of mine casting, I believe, Julian and Alex playing the very first game. And the moment we started casting it, we realized this is actually incredibly exciting. There's a great thing about it where even the best player gets super dizzy trying to play on 4 games at once. So players who are less good who are watching can still be like, oh, you're making a mistake. I can see the thing you should be doing, which is an experience you don't normally get in competitive TFT at the highest level, where you're like, they're playing a different game than me. So it was absolutely great. We knew we had a hit. Everyone was like, we need to dig more into this.
Yeah, and we needed to take it to Vegas for sure.
Yeah.
Eventually we started developing a meta. You know, TFT is a competitive game, and we had to get as serious as possible with this. First, memorize all the Augment icons. As soon as Augment selection comes up, you don't want to be reading those. This started in set 7, so we said, hey, get dragons on the board, that's easy. Set 10 is a lot harder with headliners. Eventually we realized, wait, you're not playing against 4 other people. And so you say, okay, well, I need to do as little damage as possible to my other boards, but as much damage as possible to my opponent's boards, which became a big strategy. There was also, if I play 4 level 6 reroll comps, I can pull every unit out of the pool except my own units. That was a really good strategy. Of course, there's an amount of like, you should probably drink water before and after the game.
There's one of my favorite moments, I just have to give credit to a Julian innovation. The most hype moment from the first game was definitely Julian realized he was about to eliminate one of his own boards, which is a thing you need to watch out for because you can fight yourself. And he Zephyred his own carry so that his strong team wouldn't eliminate his weak team and someone else would lose that fight and go out. It was the play that made us go like, this is an amazing game mode. It has hype moments like anything else.
The Mastermind side event has been so fun to see play out in Vegas. Thank you, all 3 of you, for developing this incredible game mode.
Monitor stats and climb the ranks with TFT Match History now available on Riot Mobile if you guys want to get on there and check it out. Looks pretty cool to me.
Oh yeah, I already got it.
Of course, we all do.
So you got that memo, but you didn't get the memo about wearing leather on the desk.
Yeah,
Gangly.
Come on, Gangly.
Priority. Come on.
You're all trying to make it seem like I wasn't willing to do it. No, I wasn't invited. There's a difference there.
I'm not so sure about that, honestly. But we have a super close lobby on our hands, Necra. There is 3 players in here that can absolutely still make it, and it's going to come down to the wire.
That's right. We've got Michael, Malala, and Casey61 that are sitting in contention for those top 2 spots. And that's the big kicker for the format that we have here for day number 2, is that you can only look at these top 2 spots. And that one's also
You want to say Pokegum, Gangly?
I mean, I want to talk about Pokegum, but he's looking a little scary right now. But Solus, on the other hand, alongside Humbug in the top here, Pokegum and Ashbu definitely still in contention. I think for Pokegum, though, it's a little bit out of his hands. He has to go first, and hopefully that's enough.
And Solus picked up momentum on that main broadcast stage in round number 3, and now really doing so well in this one as well. EMEA continuing to dominate. There's been a bit of a shuffle in who's first, second, and third. Some musical chairs going on, but Lides, Kevin Parker, and Noel doing so well in this lobby, hoping that those 3 can close it out for my EMEA biases.
Kevin is repeating his results from the previous game, quite literally. In round 1 of the day, he got a 5th, a 1st, a 5th, and a 2nd, and this is looking so close again.
I'm really curious to see how that one's going to shape up because it's sad to see Noel take an 8th there, but I think after getting 2 firsts back-to-back, at least you're in a very comfortable spot. But I feel like this lobby as well, you're really looking at Broccoli and Sasao that are going to be at the top 2, but I feel like Sasao could still get upset here by 3 other players in this lobby.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about the main characters of the game, right? Every lobby right now has 3 to 4, maybe only 2, to be honest, players who they have their lives in their hands and they have no room for mistakes.
There it is. They were trying to hold it up earlier.
And interesting for Sasao's lobby there because Sasao fighting up against Can Without You and against Broccoli. That's 3 different regions represented, SEA, NA, and EMEA. That was the same exact split in his last round lobby. He was facing up against Milk and against Stay Alive, and in the end started coming in that top 2 spot. We see some big cheers coming over from the co-streamer stage.
Oh,
that's
the
live.
lab scientists are very happy. Hands up in the air. What is going on? We need some info.
I know. I wish I knew exactly what's going on. I believe those are the lab members. We know
Yes.
is that Humbug? That might actually be. If that is Humbug, who was sitting in first place originally, that might, I mean, it looks to me like that means they're qualifying for the top 8.
Yep. It does seem that way. It does seem like he's kind of sealed the deal there. That was very exciting.
Oh my! I mean, that's the magic of LAN, though, right? None of us have ever experienced this before.
Cheering. It's so
not
cool.
stopping. Oh my goodness. Oh, that really is the magic, right? It's the atmosphere. Look at these faces. These are the faces of people who have been standing behind their friend saying, we want you to succeed because you represent us. And that's something we've never felt on a global scale at TFT.
Handshakes, hugs, jumping up in the air. And this is still day 2. Imagine what it looks like tomorrow when we finally see some big conclusions. Kerm X coming into the mix as well. So much happening on these faces.
Yeah, if we can get
I love this.
too.
Oh, I'm tearing up.
I wish I knew.
This is so wholesome.
And this is the thing, we've never seen the faces before, right? So we actually don't know who all the players is just by the faces. These players making the deep run, we're not even exactly sure who qualified for top 8.
Well, I think that's Ashmoon.
Yeah, it has to be.
That's
We saw the DM/wholesome interview.
Listen, that was more wholesome than anything else, okay?
Just to fill you in case you weren't watching earlier, he hit a great board, stood up, said, I have won this lobby with like 3 players in there still playing. There was a dragon down and everything. And he got up and did an interview while the lobby was playing out. And
I made him do that. I did ask for this. Okay,
And he won, and as the interview ended, the victory screen came up, and he actually won that game.
What an absolute monster. Well, congratulations to Ashmoon for making top 8.
Michael, a gesture to the gods, trying to find any way to clutch up in this game 4 and qualify into that day 3. Only 8 players are making, of course. Tomorrow will be a checkmate format, so even more excitement in the way those games will play out. But everything on the line for this main broadcast lobby.
What are you seeing, Nekra? You're pointing at something there.
It's a showtime. Oh, so okay, it's 3 champions.
Oh, I thought there was multi-talented.
Yeah, I know. I was getting so excited because multi-talented would have been so much fun to see these players play around, but I know none of our players in the top 3 probably wanted to play around that, so we do get 3 champions instead.
Just a quick reminder, the 3 players on, well, so to say match point here are Malala, Double 61, and Michael right behind them. It's going to come down to the wire, but everybody else is, of course, still playing for bragging rights and a prize pool.
There are some players still in contention. There are, situations where all 3 of these players go 8, 7, and 6, and players that are 15 points can still climb up in the standings. Absolutely true. There are some players on 15 and 14 points.
That's a big thing going into the last game, though, right? You want to be able to control your own fate, and some of these players, they are just not in that position. JC Double, however, finds this Heartsteel. Cassante right off the bat on 1-3, definitely a headliner that you are excited to see in your shop. So JC Double definitely feeling pretty comfortable right now.
Well, it's helpful too because not only can you branch out and try to tech in a couple more Sentinels on your board to have that strong front line, but you also are more easily able to get that 3 Heartsteel online and start racking up some of that econ.
All right.
First couple of rounds, it's a little bit like the silence before the storm. Everybody's like waiting how it's going to shake out, what Augments are going to come around, what are we playing with in this lobby, so to say.
The item plans as well. Some fires an option for double, but really hoping maybe for an early Heartsteel tech in, maybe a chance for Heartsteel 5. We saw how good he is at capping out his boards, at finding ways to maximize that extra econ and resources.
He's also holding on to the Jinx as well, so you could tech that in and end up getting the rapid fire online, so that might be a nice way to help boost up that sentence damage output. But we gotta check out on Malala here because he ended up picking an Annie chosen, and you've got that emo that's gonna get the double trade.
He picks up, he flicks through everything and then immediately does go with that snap pick. I believe that's Epitaph, correct?
One of the strongest augments in set 10 has been auto-picked by so many players in tournament on ladder as well. One of the safe picks that you know will scale into the late game especially.
Players really love that one. I understand why. I personally love the emo because it reminds me of my youth, long time ago. Gamblers played for Phoenix and Michael, both of them picking it up. Interesting.
Kind of circles back to what we were talking about last game, right? Of people wanting to play around this economy, especially in a game where if you need to kind of leapfrog your way through the standings, you're playing for a first.
And double considering the power of just the health on that Olaf too over the traits that he has currently on the board with a Jinx or that Lilia adding Sentinel. For now, I'm going to keep the Olaf on the bench, potentially an add later in the stage 2.
On the other side, Phoenix has that Gambler's Blade, but no real front line in front of it, so I'm not sure how he's going to proc that right off the bat. Michael, on the other hand, does have this upgraded Taric and the Gambler's Blade on this Corki.
That's a great item holder.
Yeah, it has been proven to be a very, very good item holder. And the Gambler's Blade, too, when you have that last Whisper slammed, I'm really only looking at a couple of those AD carries that could really actually take those items.
That's a really great point, because one of the things that I know a lot of the AD Flex players talk about is that slamming Last Whisper in Stage 2 actually doesn't always feel that great, because it does kind of reduce your outs on level 8 from those melee carries to traditionally just those backline carries like Ezreal and Caitlyn.
Even from AD to AP, it's why things like Shojin, Rageblade, and Red Buff are so strong in set 10. You want to keep your options open going to stage 4 and 5. Those roll downs are unpredictable when it comes to the headliners. You want to have the maximum options available.
This still leaves you open if you want to try to go for some reroll strategy, but it does really look like it could be a Caitlyn angle here, especially if you're able to get that 8-bit online. But what were you looking at, Giga? I heard you giggling over there.
Yeah, I mean, we can hear the screaming in the background. People are qualifying for top 8 right now, and you could see Michael heard the sound. I assume even through the white noise and everything. People are just screaming. He like looks around like, oh my, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, it's an open LAN event. You do want to know what's going on everywhere else. We did hear, while you were interviewing the Mastermind player, we were also hearing a lot of cheering from that one. I assume some of it was due to you.
It was me screaming. It
was
no
that's what it was.
Yeah.
That was just getting the crowd hyped, you know? So.
And once again, we're seeing the gold generation artifacts coming online. We're seeing the Diamond Hands, the Gambler's Blade, trying to make it to that fast 8, maybe fast 9 in some cases. Like we saw Double 61 executing to perfection in that game 3. Malala, one of the other favorites, 20 points coming to this game 4.
Kind of a tricky spot, right? It does have that emo Annie, which, you know, last patch especially, a lot of people were playing to play tempo or to play reroll, and you had that flexibility. This time around, though, it does not have the Superfan package that allows Annie to have so much damage output. And I know with the change from Spear Sojin to Jewel Gauntlet, generally speaking, Annie is not going to output as much damage that she once did.
But he's also lost streaking right now, so I actually don't know how much you would really want that Annie to get that extra item at this point, because what you're hoping to do in this case is just lose by barely enough. And so that will help maintain your econ, and Annie's not a bad way to be able to do that in terms of tempo play, where you're just not going to lose by too much.
And he's on 20 gold as well, which I think is a very cost-effective board for killing units. Being on 20 before Carousel, having prior to pick up Shojin here potentially for the Annie, or any 4 and 5 cost carry really in the game when it comes to this current item meta.
Carousel is coming up, and that is going to be an option for you to find those target items that players are looking for. Of course, right now, if you're looking at the bottom of the screen, many of these boards are looking the same. We're seeing a lot of Kennen, we're seeing a lot of Taric, Lilia, you know, the old familiars, even from last patch, coming back and haunting me in my dreams. But what's not haunting is great item pickups.
Yeah, I always want to look at the 3 cost units on the stage 3 or stage 2 carousel as well, right? When you have those early Yones or early sets, it really allows the lobby to get Heartsteel online more easily.
And then Nico, the first pickup there for Turtle Duckling for obvious reasons. One of the biggest trait spikes in stage 2. KDA and Superfan both coming off of that Nico. And Guardian and a little extra bonus as well.
Double 61 is going to be able to get the Heartsteel online, but I was also looking at Campus that's been sitting on that as well as Buried Treasure, so you might be able to get a ton of item upgrades as you head into the later stages.
Spoils of War for Dobbs, trying to play a high-tempo game plan, try and snowball that Augment into a lot of extra resources throughout stages 2 and 3.
Both of them streaking as well. We'll see if they do meet up right now. Looks like they are. So Dobbs and Casey Double going to be competing to see which one of them can maintain a streak all the way through stage 2.
Double has the Senna in the background, but she doesn't really have an item. However, the story seems familiar on the other side. Dobbs with that rod on the MF trying to get some damage out there. For a long time, the front line had been standing. And now it's a 1v1, well 3v3 between these backline units.
Looks like Dobbs will be able to come out on top. Casey Double loses his streak. Dobbs continues. But you know what? Casey Double, level 5, 20 gold. You can't feel too bad about that.
You're at the same spot you tend to be at 2-6 for the whole fight before that, so the Diamond Hand's really helping get that extra gold generation, plus staying relatively healthy when it comes to all the HP totals in this current lobby. No one's really open forwarding, no one's really losing that much HP despite that 4 losses from Turtle Duckling. He's still sitting at 80, which is relatively healthy.
Yeah, actually, if you're sitting at 4 loss, 80 HP going into 2-6, you're feeling very confident about that. I'm curious to see if Turtle's going to be able to hit that 30 gold threshold without winning. That is actually a pretty important interval to hit, especially if you are going for this 5 loss streak. All right, there we go. Turtle's got to feel really good about this spot, actually.
Yeah, I think you just want to make sure that you have the econ, and then you just get to Krugs, and you're able to try to figure out some board upgrades there.
The rare Olaf Giga Chat in stage 2 from can he do enough? IE and Sunfire. Dobbs trying to secure this 5 wins and trying to secure the extra resources from that Spoils of War. Olaf is great, but not quite great enough, it looks like.
This is looking pretty good, actually. Oh, this Olaf is staying alive.
I'm sorry for downing you, Olaf. You are a Giga Chat. I'll eat my words.
Wasn't it Alan that trolled people with your help on the Olaf? This is Olaf showing you that it was true all along.
Wow, Dobbs loses his streak. Nobody maintaining a full streak apart from Turtle Duckling, who's able to 5 streak with 74 HP. I remember actually, and once upon a time, I think it might have even been set 7, you were one of those open 4 loss streak into Nidalee players, right? This is kind of a spot you're pretty comfortable with.
Calling out Panda.
Are you calling me a degenerate free roller? Is that the way you're framing this game, Lee?
Absolutely.
Well, I am, buddy. Set 6 Talon reroll Debonair. That was my secret sauce.
There it is.
But looking over at this Krugs, fortunately a win for Turtle Duckling it looks like, and seeing a lot of different options on his bench, even more so now with the Gragas pair, the chance to also make 50 here selling the Twitch and maybe the Pantheon there as well, that's going to be the case. Nico potentially, Heartsteel potentially, maybe a Disco Line going to stages 3 and 4.
Well, the Nashor's is so flexible, so you can put that on the Annie because it's a really good item for her, but you also know that you can push that over to some other AP carry down the line.
Seeing a familiar line there from Malala using the Annie as item carrier, but does have the blinged out emblem to shush it up a little bit.
True damage.
A little bit. I love that.
True damage Annie's not the usual item carrier, but it's gonna do for now. But again, Malala, I think identifying
damage, you know,
this is one of the strongest lines in the game right now. We saw 2 players in the top 4 last game with that blinged out augment and true damage units on their boards. Double as well with the Kiana did so well.
Yeah, there's quite a few different variations you can play with that true damage emblem, right? You're not just locked into splashing in 2 true damage at 9. You can play a sort of vertical true damage on 8. There's actually quite a few outs that allow you to roll relatively flexibly. So I really like this play from Malala.
Well, Double actually took the true damage emblem in that last game, ended up putting onto the 2-star Yorick and really helped to pump up the damage that Yorick could provide. So you could definitely play around it to get that 4 true damage in for a level 9 board.
Augments coming through. Is going to be golden augments. Anything you're looking for.
3-2 blank slate over there.
Don't even mention
it. Come on.
Come on.
There's a certain level of skill in this lobby.
One time.
Last stand is one of the options, but
that's
a risky one. It looks like it was the pickup there in the end. So high risk, high reward game plan.
Ripple on that last stand. changing up the lobby tempo a little bit, but Michael here.
Big item grab bag, just some extra items to work with here, trying to find a way to fully itemize this.
6.
Once again, the Senna headliner that has been auto-picked by most players in Stage 3.
Did Michael take big component grab bag and then get 2 tiers out of it? That's what it looked like,
I believe
right?
that's the case, which is so
really
unfortunate.
Tough spot when you're trying to obviously lean towards AD. Thankfully was able to reforge 1, got another bow out of it. Not exactly sure how much of a wrench that throws into Michael's plans though.
The Olaf is still looking strong here.
Candace is just showing
It's a 4 win
up.
streak. We should not be laughing.
No, I mean, Casey Devil on the other side, though, does have that Senna 2 online now. So I imagine that this is maybe where that streak...
Does he need to do it again, Gangly?
Oh,
the
man.
Olaf is going to do it.
I'm going to stay quiet.
Wait a second.
Wait a second.
Wait a second.
He is coming.
Yeah, this Olaf's actually...
Actually, Giga Chat, yeah. I was on something.
You were
Sunfire cape, I'm telling you.
There's my keyboard strength analyze.
He is healing. He is dealing damage. He's critting. That guy does it all.
Come on, that's not bait, that's tech.
You're right, you're right. I don't know why anyone's ever clicking on Headliner Senna when you can click Headliner Olaf.
And double 61, early injection of gold there off that hardstyle cash out. It looks like it's going to be a rerun of that last game, and still much harder than he was in Stage 3 in that Game 3. He's sitting at 85 HP now, and with good projection overall, good items being built through Diamond Hands, the Senna 2, despite not being a headliner, still great addition to this board in Stage 3.
Turtle is a little bit free falling, though. 7 losses is a lot.
But he's rich.
Yes, yes. I like how you always see the up next.
Yeah, exactly. He's rich, so you know it could be worse right there.
Gonna be seeing if he can transform that gold into an actual board that will hold up and maybe give you some wins. Canvas on that win streak, wants to protect it, wants the Olaf to go
Surely
further.
not, surely not.
Put a stop to it, but she is
Felio stun
holding
comes
on.
through in the win. And this is Canvas sitting on a dead Augment, picked up last stand, not doing anything with it right now.
This is a very comfortable position for both of the Casey cousins here, right? Both of them feeling quite healthy, quite rich, and in a good position in this mid-game to put themselves in a good spot towards the end.
Could be an Ezreal pair for Michael, who's sitting on second pick right now. Even for the Heartsteel players, it could be interesting. Turtle Duckling, again, going for that clutch 4 cost in Stage 3. He always finds himself in the bottom of the standings when it comes to this pickup here. We've seen it across every single game in this lobby.
Look at Ripple and Malala's item economy versus the rest of the lobby. The two of them clearly towards the bottom of the standings and just do not have the items to keep up with the rest of the lobby. We'll see how either one of them is going to be able to come back, because if they cannot stabilize soon, they're going to be in a little bit of trouble.
It's looking similar for Dots. He just had 2 components unslammed into an item, so it's looking like a little bit fake 4, but they're on roughly the same terms. And we're looking at Turtle Sport now is running that Misfortune headliner that we did get a glimpse at earlier, David. I'm not really a big fan of it, though. It's, yeah.
Taking a page out of Phoenix's book. I think in this case, just a tempo option, not going to commit to Jazz reroll in this case. Did roll a tiny bit more. Is on 4 Misfortunes, but we'll see what Turtle can do. He always finds himself in these spots where he has to find ways to stabilize on 7, sometimes on 8 in Stage 4, and always in the lower back of the standing. So we'll see what he can do in this game. 54 HP right now.
Yeah, I imagine having the lesser champion Duplicator on your bench.
That's Olaf.
You know, if I, what?
That's Olaf.
Oh, it's Olaf still there. That's right. That's right.
Better watch out.
There's still a potential option where maybe, you know, you high roll another Misfortune or 2 in your next shop, and then Turtle does have his out, but itemization.
Oh, lasagnas. Oh, no. Olaf changes his course, takes down all the DPS, and now it's going to be set versus 3 units. The worst Zanyas of all time. 100% lost that fight there.
I have to correct myself. That's not Olaf, that's Broda.
Okay.
This guy has Canvas's back.
Turtle
What a
Duckling
true one.
finds the Ezreal. One thing to mention, 2 players on last stand. It's a risky thing because both players could proc it and then they face each other, and maybe both players get eliminated. It's always awkward to have 2 last stand players in a single lobby.
We talked about it before, the main characters of this lobby, right? We've got Michael, we've got Casey 61 and Malala, but Malala not really looking like he's in that great a position. We saw that true damage spatula come out earlier, but for whatever reason, it does feel like he's kind of free-falling a little bit in the standings, down to 57 HP now.
Oh my god, the wrap on the Olaf. He goes right into the backline once again. What are they feeding this guy?
We'll see if the Nami bubble is enough.
He's right
I
under
think
it.
yeah, it's a direct counter.
And this might be the end of the reign of terror of Olaf. Malala, you were just talking about it. Has been bleeding a little bit, is on 35 gold and level 7, but will be the one to put an end to this.
And it's crazy that Camb has won 2 more rounds between that win streak with last and his Augment. That just goes to show how strong his board was in this stage 2 and 3.
If I'm taking anything away from this cast, it's I'm clicking on headliner Olaf.
Well, Max, unfortunately, you're not going to gain much LP on this patch.
All right, Ripple Overdrive running some Heartsteel units, has this headliner Kale as well. Going to potentially make some sort of pivot here.
And Ripple, the stage 3 chef, picking up the Lux headliner earlier, now cooking up something with a Kale headliner. Units that most players do not click, especially not in this stage of the tournament. We're in round 4 now.
Holding the Zed on bench, has the IE Slam, some open AD components, however, does not have any sort of lifesteal option right now. So really hoping for some way to either get an Edge of Night, Hand of Justice, Bloodthirst or something.
There's the
Float
Negatron.
there. Yeah, we'll see. I think this may tell us a lot about what Ripple's trying to play. Ends up with the glove. Interesting.
Huh, that's a lot of crit. I only know one champion that I feel like loves to see the crit. I don't think, or I don't want to speak Samira into existence, but that is certainly a possibility down the road.
She's always been in the room with us.
That's true.
Malala now has finally transitioned off of that Annie onto the TF for the true damage, in this case now using Disco as a way to stabilize intensity on this stage 4, despite being pretty healthy right now, sitting at 57 HP.
And Michael and Malala are kind of like staring at each other here. It's all about the placements of these two players and double between who actually makes it out.
Oh, no! The set almost did it again. He beat the Karthus up in that last game, almost does the same to TF.
Morthdog talked about it yesterday, right? When you have this Twisted Fate, he spreads his damage across the entire board, but when it comes down to that 1v1 or the 1v2, TF able to clutch it out and deal enough damage.
True damage, TF.
I
just really want to point that out.
He was blinged out.
He's feeling real fancy now.
Potentially little buddies for Dog, one of the stronger augments that we've seen across this entire set 10. A few more of the dummy support augments as well that have been so strong with the right high roll, especially that newbie big gem. Not going to be the case here for Double 6-1 in that Banshee's Veil.
I love the Poppy headliner.
And this
I feel
Cyber
like
Bulk as well, with the
record.
extra health, the BT, and the Diamond Hand.
So cool.
This is a recipe for success, in my opinion, for Double here.
He's holding one Poppy as well. If that is finally the rerun of the Poppy 3, I love that one.
There's no chance.
I don't think so, but I can dream.
Yeah, let her dream.
Yeah.
Come on, Panda. You gotta let her dream.
Spoiled sport.
Really cool board by KCW here, right? Playing very wide on level 8, able to utilize the AP items on the Karthus, and your AD and frontline items on this Poppy, who's dealing massive
Let me try to sell this to you, okay? The Karthus deals so much damage spread out, knocks units low, then Poppy comes in, hammer time, gets a reset, and she is just having a grand old time. It's like the cooked up version of Akali.
Right, that's what I was going to say. It's kind of just like the frontline Akali. It's amazing. This is a very cool board from KC. I'm not exactly sure how long he's going to stay with this exact board, but I imagine this is strong enough to get him pretty far in the game.
And Michael on his comfort zone once again. We talked about it so many times. Well, I have at least throughout this tournament. The Disco Heartsteel setup here with the Ezreal and the TF dual carry, and Blitz holding the line in the front there with some great tank itemization.
Yeah, I really like the adaptive helm and the crown guard together on Blitzcrank. You're just able to keep him alive for so long, and then it's also able to help kind of get that nice chip damage down on the front too. But you also have the Alawi there, so those tentacles are definitely going to start to hurt.
And Biz on the other side.
And a great spot. Big Heartsteel cash out, level 8, 40 gold, last stand as well. Really all the pieces of the puzzle that he needs to find a huge cap coming into stage 5.
That is going to be it. Oh, not enough hearts being burnt there for the next step. One is going to come around for sure, and we're looking over to Turtle. And that Twisted, he's just a beast. 5 left in pool, though. Several players are looking at it. That could be a problem.
Yeah. Dobbs is on an 8-win streak right now.
Really playing into what Spoils of War wants to do.
Yeah, that's a great call out. Has a lot of damage on that backline, able to kill units very quickly. Maybe in a
Ripple's like, thank you very much, thumbs up. O-Cage business between the NA players. Kiana getting into Ripple Overdrive's hands.
I like that. That was beautiful. Getting some more forecast updates here across the board. Zet being picked up by Michael. Some leftovers for Canvas and Dots.
Malala's been switching up his board quite a bit, currently sitting on an Ahri as well, so not exactly sure where Malala wants to end up, but probably still has some more work to do before he's finally happy.
Micah's still rolling to 0 every turn here, looking for the TF upgrade, knowing that maybe that's what he needs to stay strong here. Sells the TF, gives up on it, finds the Alawi and the Sona. Could this be a pivot here from Micah? We'll have to see.
Well, what I'm worried about for Michael and Double 61, I want to keep an eye on is their economy heading into these last few rounds, because they're both broke and they're at level 8. So you're trying to figure out how you're going to get to level 9. Is there anybody else that's going to outpace you and have the gold to be able to do that first?
Yeah, I think a part of it too is that they're competing against each other, right? So you have to imagine that Double 61, Malala, and Michael are checking each other's strength, right? Because if you can outplace the other one, then you're probably making it to top 8.
Turtle Duckling once again on TF, but TF1 is not going to be able to hang here against that Caitlyn. The damage coming through, it's down to just the dummies, unfortunately. Not much DPS coming out of them. Turtle Duckling in a familiar spot, unfortunately, for this NA player who's always under pressure in stage 4, having to find a way to stabilize and come back into the game.
Well, Ripple and Turtle both are in that kind of position, but we did see them rise up in the previous game and find a way out of it. So I'm looking on whether or not they can do it again. It's not going to allow them to move on to day 3, but it will allow them to move on in the overall standings and get a bigger prize pool as well as bragging rights. You know, you want to win those main stage lobbies.
It's interesting. I feel like right now in a lot of the other games, we're kind of prepping for this big level 9 roll down to come from the top players. And while Dobbs is certainly in a position where he is rich, the rest of the lobby, although it does look like Canvas also in a position there, it feels like the general tempo of the lobby has rolled significantly more on level 8 than what we were expecting.
And it's just the playstyle of most of these players reflecting onto just the lobby as a whole. Double and Michael, pretty much every game they've been leveling to 8 and rolling down heavily, sometimes to 0 or 10, trying to stay stable throughout stage 4, and then if everything goes well, thinking about level 9 much later in the game.
Phoenix taking in a big hit here as well, and Double is free falling. 25 HP is not a whole lot to work with now. I've been saying in the previous game, this guy likes to play on the edge. He is familiar with being right at the corner stage, but 25 HP is 2 losses and you're done.
Phoenix wants to try and hit the Samira 3, possibly switch those items off of that Urgot, who is great in the early stages, not so good in stages 4 and 5. Back into that Samira, but Double fighting for his life.
You know, there's an argument here that players like Malala and Michael actually really want Dobbs and Canvas to spike extremely hard on 5-2, because guess what? If Casey Double runs into each of them in his next round of matchmaking, that's going to be enough to take him out, right? 25 HP.
2 Ks in one chop.
Could be enough. Not exactly sure how much more that's going to stabilize
Wrong
him,
legendary.
Oh.
Come on.
Casey Double might be in a little bit of trouble here.
There it is.
He sold the other cane.
No!
Oh, no.
It was the same
It's
cane.
the same one. It's the same one.
Yeah.
Just find a Lowy here. Not going to play that, though. Up against Malala. Huge fight here.
Thumbs up.
This true damage Caitlyn is so strong.
Karthus in the back line is going to get at least a tier to try and get him to cast.
Oh.
Serves out a lot of damage. Is it enough, though? Caitlyn not being knocked down. Look, Samira trying anything. It's not enough. Double might be on his last life.
Gigantic implication from that last fight. Malala and Casey Double going heads up in a fight that might actually determine the top 8 from this lobby.
TF upgrade there. The Sona upgrade for Dobbs as well, who's cruising to that fast 9. 35 gold to roll with Spoils of War. Played so well by Dobbs here. Triple Rage Blade Sona.
Oh my goodness.
But Double in so much trouble right now.
Double has to hope that he does not hit either Dobbs or Canbiz now in the next few rounds. And if he does, it could be an end to his tournament run.
Despite 2 wins in this round 4, that's just crazy.
Horrifying.
It's tough because he was continuing to roll to look for stabilization and didn't necessarily have the HP preservation to be able to last through, but it is going to be Casey Double 61 that we're going to get a profile of, but it really taking kind of a look at how we're doing here from Turtle Duckling, who is still sitting at a last life.
Yeah, looks like they're up against
Twisted Fate might clutch it out again for this matchup, but it looks like Double is down.
Oh, wow.
He has lost this fight here, and a tragic turn of events. And with Turtle holding on, that means an 8th place.
That shows the strength of this lobby overall. 2 wins and now an 8th in the game 4 where it mattered the most. So unfortunate for Double 61. That means Malala and Michael are guaranteed to go through. Minor correction, I spoke earlier that maybe some players had a chance still.
Exactly.
I thought Candace was on 15 points, he was on 13 points, so it is
Both
guaranteed to be Malala and Michael making it to that top 8. Latam and NA coming in clutch.
You know, I want to shout out Michael right now, because going into the event, so many players that I spoke to were afraid to say, I'm going to make top 8 or this player is going to make top 8 because of the variance. Michael was one of those players that said, I am one of the best in the world, and if I'm playing on form, I'll make it to top 8. So congratulations to Michael and Malala from this lobby.
Back-to-back championships for Michael, where he did not make the final lobby. He was so close. He was disappointed in not doing so. So great to see him find finally some real success in his TFT career.
Okay, I just want to say, technically, if Michael goes 7th here, it would still go Double's way. You guys are already 1 step ahead.
They're doing too much math.
It's looking very close
Makes. There's
here.
3 players on single digits. It's not happening.
I'm just saying, technically, it hasn't happened yet, but I like hearing the praises. You know, I get it. Ripple, Turtle, Candace, all so close to that elimination, and just 1 will knock it out here. Michael on 18 points, Double on 20 will give you that.
Really love the Gargoyle Stone Plate pickup here from Malala. You can even see from the itemization of his carries, he has a fully itemized Senna 2 in the back line, but is really lacking that front line.
We haven't mentioned this, but Phoenix is sitting on a country emblem on his board. Is he potentially on 7 country at this point in time?
Does have that 3-star
That is
Urgot.
a trade spike we don't see very often, but so cool to see that Infernal Dreadsteed Hecarim coming out and clutching up so many fights in Stage 5.
I want to check in on that. But ooh, that's gonna be a headliner Lucian.
And this is last stand not procced yet for Ripple Overdrive. Same thing for Canvas.
Exactly, so don't get baited. I'm just saying, it's still kind of near. Malala going up against Ripple here, though, might just trigger that one. Backline, you're seeing that Caitlyn again supported by the Senna. We looked at this comp earlier today and at the damage that they can dish out. Specifically, single target. You can see it on the Poppy. They're just burning.
So close here. The 1v1 between the Caitlyn.
The Lucian will clutch it out.
And look at this triple Rage Blade Sona from Dom. Not able to do it against the TF.
TF's too strong.
Michael finding a loss there. Now you got me all nervous, Max.
Hey, she does have to bring it up.
Don't count your chickens before they hatch, or whatever that saying is.
No, you got that right.
There you go.
I think Michael's aware of the situation. I think he knows that he probably has to, if he loses it again, will roll down on 8. Doesn't have the time to go 9 right now in that middle ground.
You could still take 1 more loss, though. It just depends on who you're going up against and how much damage you're going to take. But we want to check in on how Turtle Duckling is doing, because while they have been sitting at this 1 health, they have been making the most of it. But they are going to go up against Michael.
Michael here does want to stop the bleeding in the backline. You are seeing that Sona is going to print you a little bit of extra money. Yezreal with a great ult, but only hits the front line here. Now making his way to the backline is
Ezreal still, he just died.
By those extra dummies, and in that, he takes another big hit.
Michael now down to 11.
Canvas, last stand.
Canvas last stand has been procced.
Wait, I do think that's 7 country.
Ripple has his last stand as well. It's 7 country for Phoenix. Dobbs is looking strong. Turtle looking like he's really capped as well with a 4 win streak. I don't want to do the math on broadcast, but if Canvas procs last stand, comes back into it, and Michael ends up in 7th, and Canvas saves double, that would be crazy. Is there any possibility of that happening?
Absolutely. Even if it's a
Math-wise,
0.01%, even if it's 0.01%, it still could technically happen.
You said I'm not going to do the math, and then you asked someone else to do the math.
Yeah, that is a cop-out, sir.
Sharing responsibility.
That's right.
Important part of it.
Oh, that was 3 Akalis in the shop for Cadmus. Does not want it. Goes for the Jin too, actually. And this one has a blue buff. Does not have the Shojin that usually players want to see, but we are getting that blue buff out.
Kiana too. Look at these items on her as well.
Canvas hits Michael right now. That is going to be disaster. We'll have to see what this matchup is. You see Turtle, Duckling, Ripple, Overdrive, Michael, all in kill range right now. So this is going to be potentially the most important fight of the tournament for so many of these players. It's Turtle, Duckling.
Turtle.
Somebody's going out.
Somebody is going out. The last set has been Brock, and that might just say Michael here in this tournament with 11 HP. It's going to come down to the minus HP. Should he also get knocked out? And I don't think it will come to that.
Yeah,
Turtle.
that's a massive loss for Turtle.
Overrun
Turtle takes the 7th here.
this round here. It's going to be one giant hit coming through. And at the same time, we are seeing how everything else is shaking
Michael is down
out.
as well in 6th place.
Oh!
This could be tiebreakers. This could be tiebreakers.
This could be tiebreakers.
Michael was sitting on 20, double on 18, or other way around.
Michael
double was on 20.
They're both
Yeah.
on 21.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my
We'll see
goodness.
how the tiebreakers play out, what that means for the tournament.
And double has 2 wins in this round 4.
Oh, wow. I was gonna think that this lobby would be close, but this is as close as it gets.
You guys want to talk about Malala yet, or are you going to wait on this one?
Malala's already
Let's go, Malala.
He does not need to sweat.
He is the only person up there. I guess there's like 6 people up there not
And
sweating.
shout out to Dobbs as well. A massive final game to end things off for his run in the Vegas Open. He's level 10. He did so well to make it to this point. Really utilized the spoils of war to perfection. A big hit here, though, now being dropped down to 4 HP. And Phoenix, with that 7-country trade spike, catapulting into the 1st place in the standings. And still not on Samira 3 yet.
No, still has more ways to cap out this board. You know, I actually have never seen the 7-country board come alive. So this is pretty cool.
It is.
Not something you get to see in most of your games of TFT because of the conditions required, right?
Oh, there it is. The big spike.
Samira
In
3
stage
comes
6,
in.
finally it comes through.
Phoenix no longer in contention to make the top 8, but definitely looking to be playing for that prize pool and for pride and to end the tournament on a high note.
Phoenix has been such a dominant player in NA as well as of the last few months, so it's very cool to be able to see them on this big stage and be able to get these big wins, but we still have a couple other players that are in the mix here, and Malala just wants to try to solidify this. It's going to be Dobbs on the other side, but Malala could end up getting upset here and just try to take Dobbs out.
And this lobby is so close. 4 players on their last life. The only person that is streaking is Phoenix.
Malala.
That will be Malala taken down, taken out. Canvas and Ripple still hanging on.
The Hecarim, he's coming. Oh no, the Hecarim is so scary.
Poppy against the pony, but the Hecarim will do that for you.
Oh my goodness, Poppy had no way to access the back line, so the Hecarim able to take out Canvas from that position.
Ripple,
excuse me, thank you, from that position. Now we're left with our top 3, Phoenix, Malala, and Canvas.
Phoenix feels unstoppable at this point too. With the 7-country online, we don't get a chance to see these vertical trades happen. As you were saying, Gangly, I feel like this is one of those spots where you got gifted that emblem and you're gonna make the most of it in this scenario. And that Urgot 3 was hit very, very early there for Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, it stabilized him for very long. I'm not exactly sure when the country emblem came online, but obviously bought himself enough time to cap out his board to what seems to be a very strong top 2, maybe potentially top 1 position.
I love that for Phoenix as well. He was out of contention pretty soon with an 8th, a 6th, and a 7th. Coming back here in that final game of the day and just claiming the top spot must feel so good. So kind of rewarding in a way that you can show that you can do it.
Yeah, I mean, you never want to be remembered, right, going out on 8th, going out on 7th. You kind of want to end on a high note and make it feel like you went out giving it your
7
absolute
countries,
best. Yeah.
just that for you.
Oh,
Canvas
goodness.
though. Ooh.
And this Jin, you know, if Jeff was here, he would really be enjoying this Jin. Absolutely dominating Canvas. really be able to build a capped out board to capitalize on that last stand. And this goes all the way back to that Olaf. I am not joking. Winning those few fights in stage 3 while having essentially a dead gold augment was so crucial for Canvas to make it to level 9 and be able to roll for this capped out board.
Yeah, and what a great way to be able to beat that 7 country then too. So there is a way to stop that Dread Steed, and looks like we are going to have Canvas that finds it. But everybody is just within arm's reach of each other. This could very well be the end of the game based on how all of these combats shake out.
Gonna be seeing Canvas go up against Malala, all players on their last live here. It will be elimination for one of the 3. Malala taking a big hit. He has locked himself in for the final lobby. So that is one that we take, I think. And at the same time, we're seeing Phoenix hang on.
Malala, he's celebrating. The crowd is cheering, so they know Malala secured a spot in the top 8.
And Malala has topped forward every single game in this round 4, so huge props to him as a player, so consistent across the entirety of these 4 games with such a stacked international lobby as well.
Turning our attention back to the match at hand, right? We do have Phoenix and we do have Canvas. Unfortunately, Canvas just out of reach. Even with the first place, he's going to be, I believe, 1 point short of KC Double and Michael. So unfortunately, you gave it your best effort. We'll have to see if he's actually able to clutch it out. That is truly just the nature of these extremely tight cuts.
What a great top 3 as well. 6 true damage Caitlyn, 7 country, and a capped out last stand legendary board. Some real variety coming to this last game.
Yeah, it's like a photo finish in all ways, to be honest with you. Even like how close this was, how close it came, and Canvas and Phoenix there. You know, Canvas is already done. He's taken off his headphones. He knows whoever comes out of this fight comes out of it, and he's just gonna watch in peace and see how it unfolds. The last end coming in, protected by Vegas on the other side. You're seeing that beautiful 7 country. The Steed rides into battle.
The Urgon moving into position. The Jin's in trouble.
Eunice knocked out. Urgon fallen. The Hecarim down. With that, Canvas is going to take that final lobby of the day.
And despite not having the best 3 games, Canvas shows why he is considered a world-class player ever since set 8, winning EMEA Regionals, making it to the World Championship, finishing 10th in the process, and really growing so much as a player on every international stage.
I mean, take a look at this lobby right here, right? Every single one of these players earned their spot in a deep field of incredible stakes with conditions they're not comfortable with. And they said, you know what, I'll find my edge despite all of that and make this deep run. They should all be proud.
Yeah, all of these players put on a fantastic show. Audience, give them some love. They did an amazing job for these last 4 games.
I love this. This is why you watch TFT Sportsman.
Michael and
good.
Double 61, both players on the same amounts of points. Right now, tiebreakers will be the deciding factor for who makes it into that top 8. The battle between 2 of the really greatest players, I think, internationally right now in TFT, even looking historically in the case of Double 61.
We're going to take a look at the highlights while the math is being done. And truly, there are many in this game in particular, with all of the last stands being picked, with how it played out, the country. Your favorite moment, guys?
Yeah, I mean, it started with Dobbs and Casey having this, both streaks broken in stage 2. All of a sudden, this Olaf starts to take over the game, right? Nobody really saw it coming. The Olaf put in the work, though, so I think we had to give it a little bit more credit than we initially did.
It's not even close for me. The greatest moment in this game was the low-roll Zonias on the set, and Olaf just saying, all right, see you later. I'm going to the back line.
Listen, I like the Jin damage at the end of the day. It's always so fun to see all of those turrets just get insta-pops on every single unit that they're attacking into, and I feel like it's a great way to be able to celebrate that final moment here for Canvas.
And if you needed any more information on how close it is getting between Double and Michael, we're on a 3-way tie between the 2 players. This is going down to the wire.
Wow.
Canvas is also on 21, but Double has 2 wins in this last round in games 2 and 3.
Yeah.
So I believe we'll probably need to wait for confirmation on exactly how that
I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I'm not saying anything.
But while we wait, let me talk about Malala for a minute, right? This is a guy that really came out in set 6 in North America, and to be honest, was not really taken seriously by the highest levels for a long time. However, in set 8, Malala was representative of this study group that kind of rose up the ranks as a part of the newer blood of TFT and has been an amazing representative for this new age North American talent. So absolute congratulations to Malala for making it to the top 8.
And in my opinion, there's so many players in North America that have grown, not out of nowhere, but have grown in a crazy way in set 8 and 9. The study groups that have been formed, the way I think TFT has professionalized in NA almost, it seems like, not from a budgetary or monetary perspective, from the effort players have put in to get better, to improve at the game.
We talked about this a little bit, that NA is one of those regions that likes to share information. This event maybe a little less so because there is that giant prize pool on the line, but still, you're trying to work together in order to information share so that everybody's getting better.
And can I just say, Malala is not only an amazing player, he also sponsored a player to come out here. This man is both a champion and a giver. Did have one of Tri-State's very own, Malala Phillip, who did not make day 2. But you know what? Malala, great guy, great champion, makes it to top 8. Just a great guy overall.
You know, I have my eyes over there. I don't
Looks
know
like
about
we have
you
some
guys,
hints
but,
towards where the map.
there might be some information on who that second player is that's making it through. We're getting there. I'm hearing from production almost.
I know.
I can see them.
Oh,
your ears are telling you one thing, your eye is something very different, Vince. But all in all, it goes to show a 3-way tiebreaker in this final lobby could not get any closer than this. Players coming in and out of looking so dominating and smurfing the lobby and then falling into 8th and 7th places.
You are playing.
All right, we are going to look at the winners. Here are the standings. Drum roll, please. And it is going to be that 3-way tie that you're looking at. But Double 61 will be the second player that makes it into day 3.
Those 2 first place finishes, right? You talk about playing TFT on a razor's edge. When you're given the high roll, you better be able to play around it. Double doing an amazing job taking the positions where he knows he can make a deep run and converting them into a first place finish, which is not always as easy as it seems.
And you saw those boards on level 8 on those roll downs, how flexible they were just to mix and match of any kind of forecast that could balance front line and back line.
That's a great point.
Yeah, it's just so great to see. And with Double, we kind of have one of, I think, the Mount Rushmore people of EMEA making it through, which definitely feels amazing.
I don't even think it's an EMEA thing, right? I mean, Casey Double is
That's
the
a global
original,
icon.
He's the original world champion of TFT. He's a global icon, like you said, Necra. This is, quite frankly, one of the most decorated players in teamfight tactics history, something that cannot be shared by the majority, if not any player in the world. Casey Double should be very, very proud.
2 regional championships in EMEA, a world championship, finished second in the Wild Rumble ladder race at EU West in this set 10 as well. So overall, just an incredible player who finds an incredible result in this day number 2. And I'm just so ready and excited to hear from these winner interviews with both Malala and Double. We're gearing up for it now. Makes is getting ready. I'm sure all the fans in the audience are excited also to hear from their favorite players who are finally finding success and finding a way to win.
And I can't wait to see who else is going to be joining them as well, because we did have the rest of those top 32 lobbies finish up. So I feel like there is going to be a lot to celebrate as we look forward to tomorrow.
You can feel the energy, right? You look around this room, there are hundreds and hundreds of Teamfight Tactics fans who are here to see their favorite players compete, their friends compete. But you know what? We're ready. We've got Malala and Double on the stage with Makes right now. Take it away, Makes.
Thank you so much, guys. We rushed over here. Sorry to keep you waiting, but of course there was a lot of math to be done. A 3-way tie on that second place. But Malala, you came out on top swinging. Congratulations. How are you feeling?
Honestly, this entire experience has been like a whole lot of fun. I met like a bunch of online friends that I've made over the past couple sets, and just talking to them and meeting them has been a really fun experience.
Now, Double, yeah. Double, of course, you are coming out of that 3-way tie. What are you thinking in a situation like this one where you're just staring at the scores, you know it could go either way? What's going through your mind at that point?
When I went ace, I thought that I was out,
I mean, I was like very sad. But then I saw that 2 people had last end, and my cousin also had last end. So in my head, I was just saying, Kambi save me, and he did save me. So thanks to him. And I feel very sad for him because he was tiebreaker against me and Michael too at the game.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine. You guys are basically best friends. For anybody that doesn't know the KC cousins, I think now you do. But with that, thank you guys so much. A big round of applause to them. Once again, we're going to go back over to the desk.
And I spoke at the very beginning of this game. We were starting off with Scara on the caster desk here with Ezel as well. And we were talking about, you know, is there a way of both these players advancing? Both cousins making it first and second. It wasn't quite the case in the end, but it goes to show how good they are, how close they both were. The bittersweet reality there of Kambiz saving double, helping him with a tiebreaker to make, and then Kambiz not able to make it himself. Again, so close. What a crazy narrative, what a crazy storyline. And despite Kambiz not making it to day number 3, he still finished in incredible form, and you think he still is really highlighting how strong of a player he is for this point in his career.
Yeah, I mean, let's take a second. Obviously, we were able to celebrate Malala and double up there, right? But you have players like Kambiz and Michael as well, who represent their region so well. We're so close to the finish line. And the thing is, with such a small sample size, with such a small margin for error, it's not failure, right? You are so close. You need to be proud of yourself for how far you've come.
I'm hearing applause in the arena right now because we do, I believe, have our 8 players that have made it to the final lobby on day number 3, getting ready on the stage. You can hear the celebration from the crowd.
A huge applause, man. These guys are beasts, and they've made it to day 3. I am so excited to see them all there. And of course, found out when they walked up, we were kind of like grinning at each other. There is the EMEA representation, and not just a little bit.
You have to give EMEA a lot of credit. Just counting, it looks like, what is that, 4 representatives up there, right? Oh, and a lab member is counting up with his coat. The intern, look at that. Hasn't even earned the number yet. But listen, EMEA came in, not the same number of players as North America, you know? So I've been making fun of EMEA a little bit on the desk, but I have to give you credit and shout out to all of the EMEA players who made top 8.
Shout out to all of them though, right? Because these were some hard lobbies today. We even saw going from 512 to 256 to whittling it back down again. Every lobby got harder and harder and harder. And it wasn't necessarily a guarantee if you went like 226 to make it forward. We saw some pretty big losses today.
And to go from 512 players to 8, it is so difficult to make it to this day 3 as well. So just a massive round of applause for these players who absolutely deserve it.
Yes, a big round of applause for your top 8. We're going to see you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific, and that is it from us. Thank you so much for watching.
We are moments away from getting into our first game of the day.
Kiana has wrapped, but there the Jhin takes her down. Watch the shot disappear.
Saved it.
And there it goes. And from the garage to the grand, Phoenix gonna pick up a win here in game number 2. Yeah, I mean, I think Phoenix will be thinking about that, moment where he decided to say, you know what, if I go out 8th here, I go at 8th here, I need to push to 9, I need to hit that high roll because he stabilized this into another first back-to-back.
Wow.
He's very likely to advance as long as he has a pretty consistent next game.
We're gonna hop into that very first game with these guys.
One more ult comes out. The Zhonya's could be massive. Should be enough here.
One more.
Oh no! Stage 6 already. TF and Sona the dual carry with that Zig trying to help out as well with that extra MR tread. Double 61.
Double's already done.
He knows he's winning this lobby. He's winning this fight.
Can we take a Lilia? Rolls down.
Oh!
Finds the headliner on the Alawi.
Jeweled Gauntlet crit from the Karthus does enough, but still. Of Micah, the one-punch man.
And you're seeing that beautiful 7 country. The Steed rides into battle.
The Urgot moving into position. The Jin's in trouble.
Eunice knocked down. Urgot fallen. The Hecarim down. With that, Candace is going to take that final lobby of the day.